Thank you for tuning into the channel, Watching the World. We also have DJ Genesis, who's going to appear today, and we have the Attorney of the Year, Calvin Johnson, out of Texas, where they do things big. And it's great to have someone of great stature on the team. I learned so much from him, and that's how I knew that this case had a lot of shakiness with it. In fact, last week before they started the jury deliberations, we did a live together with Calvin Johnson, and we really broke down, we decimated all of that RICO and some of these charges. But there's something that we want to get into today, and that is we still see in the closing arguments, Mark Agnifilo, Diddy's main attorney, he talked about how this is a case of two cases. One case involved this overcharge of RICO, and then there was a second case that had evidence. And so in that evidence case, there is abuse, and we're going to get to it. We're going to not ignore victims because they're very important. So at this time, we're going to bring on Calvin Johnson and DJ Genesis. Come on in. Very good. How you doing, guys? What's happening?
We're
Hey,
doing
how's it
great. We're
going?
back again.
All right. Very good. Very good. So, Calvin, tell everybody where you're from and how they can find you.
Well, my name is Attorney Calvin Johnson. I'm a criminal defense attorney out of Dallas, Texas. I have worked on federal criminal defense, state criminal defense, and low-level local cases. But I have been in federal court a number of times. I'm in my 24th year, almost 25th year of practice. And I've also worked for a lot of high-profile clients. I was part of Chris Bosh's draft process, and I worked for the Chris Bosh Foundation for 7 years. I was his personal attorney at the NBA draft back in the day. And I also represent a lot of local hip-hop artists out of Dallas, Texas. As you know, Dallas is starting to get on the map with hip-hop. I think actually Yo Gotti is probably going to relocate here and run everything from Dallas, Texas. So, we're here in Dallas, and I'm here today to talk about the Diddy trial, to give y'all some game and give y'all some understanding on what is happening with this case and what we should see go on from here.
All right. DJ Genesis, tell us who you are and what you do.
Yes, my name is DJ Genesis. I am the host of the DJ Genesis Detroit show, Alchemizing Energy channel. And, I'm a software engineer by trade. I build out websites and things like that. So, I'm really excited to be here. Calvin is my attorney. He done got me out of plenty of binds, y'all. And Mel is my good friend. And I'm just happy to be here with both of them.
All right. We always look out for you. We always have your back. So don't ever wonder. Okay, so let's get right to it. Let's talk about today. We're going to focus on a lot of people, especially in the South, are following this channel. A lot of guys are asking me about this drug distribution. So, Calvin, I really want to break this down with you because as I sat through the trial, I did see drug distribution according to what the judge was saying, also the prosecution, but not only in regards to Diddy, it made it appear like the average American would be responsible for drug distribution according to the definition. So I just want to give you the judge's instruction and then have you take the floor. It says the word distribution means actual, constructive, or attempted transfer. Let's stop there. Attempted transfer?
Yeah. Attempted transfer when you try to give drugs to somebody. Some people, that's actually an attempt. Sometimes you're able to complete the attempt. Sometimes you're not. But what it does is it actually pulls a lot more potential guilty people in because the attempt is covered in the statute.
Here's the part that gets me. I live in New York, and we have a CBD and marijuana store right up the street, but they say on a federal level it's against the rules. But you saw the movie Friday. People puff, and pass. According to what I'm reading here, it's it's a drug distribution.
And see, that's the issue. And I think that's why the jury didn't want to. They didn't buy that. They didn't see it that way. Now, I know what the law says, but a lot of people will use their common sense and say, hey, if that's going to be distribution in this case, it would be distribution for everybody. And see, this is the thing that people kind of mistake for juries. They don't want to set any bad precedents either. And when I say set bad precedents, they don't want the history of these cases to be, hey, I provided somebody, we're smoking weed together. I gave somebody something one time, and now that's distribution for me. They didn't have to take it. They actually wanted it. They wanted to take it. And so it ends up being a situation where if I give somebody something, that can be considered distribution, even though I'm not selling it to them, because in a puppy situation, there's no selling it. They're using it together. They're using it to enhance whatever they're doing. And so people did not want to go there with the federal government. And when you do that as a federal government, when you're charging somebody, some people will look at that as an overreach. And I think in this particular situation, I think because the government overreached, they kind of hurt themselves.
On the first day of deliberation, they came out with a statement. They said juror number 25 refuses to follow the judge's instructions. Then they came out with their first question at the end of the day. They said, listen, if I ask you for a Percocet and you give me one, is that still drug distribution? They didn't say Percocet. I'm just giving that as an example. So what are your thoughts on that in relation to this with the jury?
Well, what they want to do is they're trying to figure out, hey, how is the government defining that? Number one, and are they really allowed to consider that distribution, or in their eyes, they don't see that as distribution? And a lot of the times that people don't understand, it's not only the act that they're talking about, but if I go out and I say, I asked him for a Percocet, he gave it to me. Well, that's just me telling them that I asked for one. And then he gave it to me. So you mean you're going to convict him of drug distribution when I asked for one, when I wanted it and I saw that he had one, so I took it from him? People don't want that. They don't want that kind of overreach in their lives. And they don't think the government should have the ability, whether it's illegal or not, to charge somebody when you have a situation that's like that. And once again, that's why I said that a little bit of an overreach. You got a lot of folks that are going to say, no, I don't feel comfortable convicting a guy of that in that situation.
Because if they saw this drug distribution, which is easily defined, that's half of your RICO charge right there, right?
Bingo. And so they did not want to find him guilty of a RICO. And so that's why they didn't want to do that. And you notice they found him, the two guilties of the transportation of the prostitution, they just found him guilty on those two charges. And then they did not found him not guilty on the RICO because they didn't think this was a RICO, and they didn't think that the government had a legitimate case in this situation to call it a RICO. I think that the government took a bunch of separate criminal acts and combined them into a RICO and then tried to sentence Sean Combs based on a RICO. Now, I'm going to tell you something. For the people that are watching this, we're not defending Sean Combs' behavior. Like I said, a lot of us have a daughter, wife, sisters. I don't want anything to happen to them. The victims of domestic violence, we don't want anything to happen to them. We're just talking about the charge and what the government was doing in this situation. And should individuals who get convicted of stuff like this or participate in this type of behavior, should they be thrown in RICO cases and get, 20, 30 years or life in prison? That's all we're discussing. We're not justifying any behavior that Mr. Combs did and his team did.
Could you help me understand this? When it comes to the RICO, from what I understand, he'd have to be guilty of 2 crimes within a 10-year period of some sort. Why didn't the 2 charges he was found guilty of count as RICO automatically?
Because what happens in that situation, the jurors, they can determine based on what they see in those crimes, are they related to a bigger racketeering and criminal organization? And what I think that they thought about this was the behavior that he was participating in was kind of private behavior. It wasn't really, connected to Bad Boy Records per se. It really was people deciding to go outside or call outside the line sexual or get into a bunch of freaky stuff. But to be honest with you, most of the time you had a lot of consenting adults, and there's going to be arguments about some of that because of some of the testimony. But at some point, these adults consented to participate in the sexual acts, either at that time or a previous time. And so when you have that kind of situations, have those kinds of situations, the jury will also take a look at those things.
Okay, so I'm going to finish reading the judge's instruction here. It says, to distribute simply means to deliver, to pass over, or to hand over something to another person, or to cause it to be delivered, passed on, or handed over to another. Distribution does not require a sale.
And that's true. That's true. But the other part of it, and what people I think that they miss, was it really Puffy that was giving the drugs to everybody? You had other people ordering it. You had other people wanting to take it. He didn't directly give anybody anything. It was kind of more indirect, even if you believe the people testifying saying that he was involved in making sure that people take the drugs. I mean, it could have been the person that's setting up the freak off that wanted the drugs to be taken because that's what they've done before. And I think there's a little gray area when it comes to that. And so when you go into that situation, the jury not only can determine based on the law that the act happened, but also based on the testimony. And they could say, well, you know what? Yeah, there were drugs given out at the freak off, but was it Puffy or was he directing, and was he completely related to handing of the drugs? And if there's any gray area there, and then they're allowed to say not beyond a reasonable doubt, I don't believe that. And the government has not proved this case beyond a reasonable doubt when it comes to that particular act, and they can find him not guilty of that.
So here's the confusing part. If I hand a drug to you and the local police just pick me up because of it versus the feds coming picking me up, is there a difference?
There is a difference. Typically, in this situation, what the reason why they were trying to say that handoff was a part of a RICO act because of the other additional behaviors that was associated with the drugs. Is it a local charge to hand somebody? Yeah, it could be, and they can determine that you were distributing drugs to other people at that point and on the local level. But when it comes to the feds picking you up for that, they kind of have to tie it to something bigger, and that's what they were trying to do. And unfortunately, or fortunately, they were not able to do so.
Okay. So in a case where you have the jurors there and one guy digs in his heels, do you think that was enough to really turn this whole trial around like we saw?
It could, because that one guy, I always tell people, sometimes you have personalities on jurors. And just like you have personalities in life, when I'm in a room, I'm a strong personality. I'm very persuasive because that's what I do. A lot of us have persuasive personalities. And then you can have one juror go in a room and maybe 10 people are going the other direction. And once they start to listen to him, they start to see what he's saying, and he could turn a whole jury around. And that's why you got to be careful in picking your jurors, because if you're good at picking your jury, and that's why a lot of cases are won, you pick your right jurors, you can win a case. Cases are won in jury selection.
So let's take you. You're an attorney, a great attorney at that. Can you tell which way a case is going or the jurors are going to decide by the way they ask their questions?
I can sometimes. I take a lot of cues from the jurors. When the jurors walk out of the room and they walk back into the room, do they look at me? Do they look at me in my eyes, or are they looking away? When I'm doing my closing arguments, sometimes I can see head movements. Like I've had jurors where I'm talking to jurors and I see that I get a little bit of, you know what I mean? And so I'm making that contact with them. And so that's why I'm careful about what I say, because you don't want to lie to the jury. You want to give them a reasonable, believable argument, because when you start to do that, sometimes you can develop a connection. And during your closing arguments, you can tell what direction they're going to go into. And then by the questions that they do ask, sometimes you can tell where they're kind of leaning. And now a lot of people took it that the question that they were asking was that Puffy was going to get convicted. And what they were probably really trying to do is figure out, what are we allowed to do, not to do, and what are the definitions of particular things. And I think that that's kind of why they were asking that. They were asking it to go the other way, when a lot of us thought that they were going this other way.
Juror number 6, they said, according to the court, that he stated to the jury staff that he had to commute to Jersey every day when he originally said he was in the Bronx, right? Mm-hmm. Do you think that that's true, or do you think that the government saw they were losing and decided to start investigating jurors?
Well, and the government is smart as well. When I say they're smart, when they see certain behaviors from certain jurors, if they think that, hey, number six, I can tell by his body movements, I can tell by the way he's looking at us, because sometimes it's just the way somebody looks at you. Like somebody may look at me and stick their lip up a little bit and give me a little bit of a snarl, and he may have been looking at them like that, like he may have given them a look like. And then they realize, wait a minute, this guy's not going our way. And then they start trying to figure out ways how to get rid of him. I'm not going to put that past the state, because when you win these jury trials, people want to win. And when, fair or unfair, they want to win. They might have saw something in terms of a head nod, his behavior, maybe even a dirty look toward the state, and they wanted him off of there.
Can you explain to the audience what a jury consultant is, and would that person be sitting in the audience during the trial giving advice to the attorneys?
A jury consultant is basically somebody that pays attention to the behavior of the jurors and actually assists in picking juries, which means when you go through your questionnaire, you look at certain things. Like, for example, you will look at somebody's ethnicity, which you're not really supposed to, but let's be honest, people do it. You look at their ethnicity, you'll look at what they do for a living. You'll look at because they fill out these questionnaires with a lot of their personal information. They'll talk about if they have kids, if they have sons, daughters, whatever, whatnot. There'll be a jury questionnaire. So you'll get to find out a lot about that person. Like, for example, I'm being honest with you. If I have a case where, let's say I got a teacher, and the teacher is accused of hitting a student in a classroom, and I got to pick a jury, and I'll give you an example of what I do, and I just be point blank with it. If I got a Black woman that's about 50 or 55 years old and older, and I have a teacher that is accused of disciplining a student, maybe a little hard or too rough, or hitting a student, I'm going to let that woman be on my jury. You know why? Because they're a little bit more old school. They tend to have more old school ways. They probably live in an area where corporal punishment was allowed. Now, on the flip side, if I got a sister that's 35 years old and her son's 15, 16, and my teacher's accused of hitting him, and because of some of the behavior maybe the kid had, the teacher had, and the kid had an altercation. If I have a lady on my jury that is 35, 40 years old, and she got a 12 or 15 years old kid, and she's single, she's not going to be on my jury. You know why?
Why?
Typically because I believe that there's less discipline in that particular household. The area of a woman that she's from, for the most part, I'll be honest with you, for the most part, they allow their kids to get away with a little bit too much in my eyes. And the jury consultants have told us that they don't want those people on your juries because, and depending on the kind of case it is, and like I said, that situation, they're more apt to justify their kids' behavior, right? So I don't want that particular kind of person on my jury. So that's kind of how it is. You have to look at where the person comes from and what the background of that particular person is. I'll give you even a bigger example. Had a DWI case once. We had a deputy sheriff that was on the jury pool. He was a 60-year-old deputy sheriff that had been a Black man, old school Black man, 60 years old. And the other side thought that I was going to strike that person and want him off my jury. The reason why I left him on my jury was kind of unique. Black men that are 55, 60 years old or older, they like Cadillacs, right? For the most part, let's be real.
Yeah.
And my situation, my client had a DWI, but the only reason why they questioned him because another drunk driver hit his Cadillac and tore it up. And because of that, my client refused to do any of the tests. He refused to take the answering under the officer's questions. He refused to do any field sobriety tests. The only thing that he was worried about was all the time and money he had spent getting his Cadillac fixed, and how somebody came along and smashed it, tore it up, and now they're trying to charge him with a DWI when he was the one who had his car torn up. So you know why I left that Black man on that jury?
Why?
Because I understood he liked Cadillacs. Most Black men that age like Cadillacs. And so I hedged my best, and I left a deputy sheriff on the jury and came back with a not guilty because of it.
Wow.
But little stuff like that jury consultants, they even do a better job than I do as an attorney. Their whole job and their whole science is to figure out who should be on that jury.
Wow. There's a big YouTuber right now that's catching a lot of flack. People are trying to say, oh, she worked for the government. She was on the government side. That's why we were able to get into the courthouse every day. Now, I know that that's a bullshit story because I was given access to, and I definitely don't work for the government. So, could you tell us, are there cases where people actually work for the prosecutors or they pull in some of the public to conjure up stories in their behalf?
I don't think that they do that. I don't. I really don't think that they do that. Some people can accuse people of that, but they really don't. They really don't have time to do that. Number one, you would have to have a big conspiracy, and everybody would have to know what's going on. And think about this: somebody's going to talk and say something eventually. And so, as a prosecutor, you don't want to be accused of doing something like that because you seem like you're trying to convict somebody and you're going above and beyond what's happening in the courtroom to try to convict somebody. And most prosecutors will not do that. They don't want to do that. And I think that's BS. Some people may not like the fact that that person got in the room, that they show up every day, and that they signed up early and they're committed to getting there and they got in, and they might not like them for that. Or they might not like them for the simple fact is they're realizing, hey, you know what? I'm in the overflow while they in the courtroom every day because they get up, they show up, they get there, and they make friends with the people that are there in terms of making sure that the bailiffs and the court staff respects them and they act respectfully, so they're getting let in. And so some people don't understand that, they may get upset because of that. So, but I think all that's a bunch of BS.
Thank you for that clarification because these internet conspiracies are insane. They're just absolutely crazy. So here's something that maybe I shouldn't say, but you know how I do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I felt like a big part of Diddy winning this case is that the jury were hearing white people explain that he was not a criminal guilty of RICO. Could a all black jury or a team of attorneys pulled off the same results?
I don't really think so. I think it's good to have a mix of races and genders when you have a defense team. I think that typically, if I'm developing a defense team for Diddy, I get at least one white man. I get at least one a white woman, one black man, one black woman. That's what I would do as a defense team. Or if I had five attorneys, maybe two white men, one white woman, and maybe one or two of the other black men or black women on the team. Typically, if you're being smart, if you're accused of doing something to a woman, I would get Diddy two white male attorneys, one white female attorney, and one black female attorney. That's what I would do, and they would sit at the table with him every day. Optically, I think that's smart.
When it comes to the jury, how big is race as far as picking and choosing and striking?
You're not supposed to debate. You're not supposed to strike based on race. You're not supposed to strike based on race. And what I said earlier, I want to make sure that I clarify this. When I look at people and I see an error of something, or if I see that a certain group is more allowing a particular behavior in my mind, that's why I'm striking them, because I'm thinking I'm not comfortable with them because I think they're going to make excuses. But you cannot strike a juror solely based on race.
So at the beginning of this trial, the open arguments, or when they did the jury selection, the defense stood up and says we had 9 black men slated to be on this jury, and the prosecutor struck 7, only leaving 2. Why is that?
They got other reasons for striking the black men. And what you want to do is, if you're the state, you want to try to come up with other reasons of how you can strike the black men. Sometimes you can see a black man on a jury and say you see 9 potential jurors that are black, but there are other ways to get rid of people on the jury, right? One of the things that I talk about a lot of the times as African Americans, male and females, we get rid of ourselves because we're so open with showing that we don't trust the police, we don't trust the authorities, we don't want to follow the law because of our previous biases, that we actually either get rid of ourselves because of cause, not following the law, not being able to sit in judgment of people, too much of a bias, or we get rid of ourselves based on the fact that they know that they're gonna have a bias against the state, and so the state says, "Nah, I just don't want that person because I think they're gonna be biased against me," and so that's kind of what it is. And see, when I talked about the criminal justice here in the United States, one of the things that was happening in Dallas County is they were figuring out a way to get rid of jurors because of race, but not calling it race. In Dallas County, the county that I practice in, basically they were the kings of figuring out how to do that. They were the best in the country at doing it.
Wow, that's
They had a
amazing.
playbook. They had a playbook for it.
Wow. So how does that get dealt with? What level in the government fixes that problem?
Well, you can actually, during a trial, you can actually challenge somebody's strike if you think it's based on race. I think it's a Baston issue, if I'm correct. I just have to, get my head back and everything. But you can actually challenge one of the strikes of the state if you think that they're doing that, and then you can put it to the judge and let the judge make a decision. And if he makes a decision to leave that juror on, that's fine. But you'll be able to later go back and if you lose, you'll be able to actually appeal based on the ruling. And so what you got to be careful about, even as the state is concerned, when you see a defense attorney complaining about why you're striking a jury, sometimes the state will just say, you know what, we're going to go ahead and let that one go because we don't want a situation where we go to the whole trial, get a conviction, and then it gets overturned.
According to the defense, Diddy's 2 charges that he's stuck with are basically no more than the solicitation of prostitution.
Mm-hmm.
So why on earth would the judge start bringing up domestic violence and that this guy is so violent I can't let him go? Isn't that out of the scope of what he's being held for?
No, because when it comes to bail, there's something else. It's not the crime itself that is a concern for a judge. When it comes to bail, this is different, and I'm going to break this down to y'all. When it comes to bail, you got to show that you have significant ties to the community, that you're going to come to court, and that you're not a threat to yourself, the complaining person on your case, or others, right? So I want you to think about this. You got to have those things that you're going to show back up. Puffy has a lot of money. Could he cut his leg monitor off and leave the country? He could if he wanted to, but we're not really worried about that. At that point, he probably could agree to set a condition where he doesn't abuse anybody or leave any. He set a condition where he can't leave the house, and I'm pretty sure that they could monitor that, so that wouldn't be an issue. Is he a threat to himself? Probably not. He's just going to do his little time and go on. But the last 2 prongs, is he a threat to the potential complainants in this case or others? That's when the domestic violence becomes an issue, because Puffy is a man of so much influence that he can touch you without touching you. And not only that, because he has a lot of money, resources, and he has people that work for him, they can make stuff happen to people without him lifting the finger of even saying go. And so when you have a history of domestic violence, that becomes an issue for a judge. And then they'll be able to say, hey, look, that's why we're not going to let you out, because you could be a threat to potential victims in the case that you just got convicted on, or others because you have a history of domestic violence. And that video played a big role, because when you look at that video, that's real harsh, man. You go out and kick somebody like that, not only kick him and drag him, but he not only beat Cassie, he almost tried to kick her head like a football. And so when they see that, man, a judge, that's going to be cringeworthy, and they'll be able to use those factors to hold you into custody.
If the statute of limitations is beyond for that video, can the judge use that video when it's time to sentence him?
They can, because they can use prior bad acts. Any prior bad acts that you've ever been accused of, anything you've ever been accused of doing, legal or illegal, they can use it. So they can use, like, for example, we have situations where when it gets to sentencing, let's say me and my woman been together 10 years and we got into it and I'm getting convicted of this one case. Well, once I get convicted, she can talk about all the other 9 years where we never had fights, or I hit her and then nobody made a police report. There was no evidence of it, but she can come back and talk about that.
In this case, on several occasions, I saw women crying and talking about their situation. In fact, some of them were squeaking at a high voice. It's my opinion that I saw the judge mean mugging Diddy, Sean Diddy Combs. So, with that being a factor, do you think that he could really dig in on the guns, the kidnapping, and all these other issues that have already been acquitted when he goes to sentence him?
He could, because basically what it comes in is, remember, any prior convictions are bad acts. Those things are still considered bad acts, even though they're not convictions. And so you got to think about that. And that's why what I'm telling you is when the judge is basically telling you that he's not giving Sean Puffy Combs bail, that means he personally has some concerns about some of the behaviors in the case, even the stuff he didn't get convicted of. And so that's why when people think that he is only going to, somebody just said the podcast was so not true. Only conviction can be used. If you go look up, and I've been doing this 24, almost 25 years, any convictions are bad acts, prior bad acts. Go look at the statute. It's not going to say only convictions. It's going to say prior bad acts. Doesn't have to be convictions. So when I get to sentencing in cases that I've dealt with, they go back and they look history. They go back and they take a look and see, well, let's say I have a guy back in the day where, like I said before, I got a situation where I'm fighting with my girlfriend and they found me guilty of it. But in our relationship, there were a couple of times where I hit her, she got hurt, but she didn't call the police and she was afraid to. And so what happens is they go prior convictions are bad acts. So if you have a bad act that you did, they can testify. Against those, and the judge can decide if he wants to take those into account. Now, the judge doesn't have to take those into account, but the state is well within its parameters to talk about any convictions or prior bad acts. All right. And that's why I want to educate our listeners too, because even as I watch the stream now, there are a lot of people say, oh, not true, convictions. No, listen, I do this for a living. When one of the things I'm really careful about is when we get to the sentencing part, if I know my client got a whole bunch of stuff he's done in that relationship, that's when I really become concerned, because I know it's prior bad acts that can cost. You know what I'm saying? And so like I said, it's judicial discretion. And so the judge can decide, well, nobody ever made a report on it, so I'm not going to take into account. Or the judge can decide, you know what? I understand that. I believe that Mr. Combs did that based on what I see in the video. And I'm going to use that to basically say, hey, I'm going to give you more time on this range. I'm in the range. I'm going to put you on the higher end instead of the lower end. And so that's the concern I have. And that's why I say when people try to tell us Puffy's not going to do any time, I get concerned about that, because I do know he has a few prior bad acts, and they can use those things in terms of sentencing. And I think that's where his problem is going to be. So that's why I'm saying he's probably going to be to the mid to the top of the range when it comes to sentencing. And typically, I think what we're seeing is between 53 and 61 months based on the point system. And so I'm thinking he's going to be on the higher end of that. But with everything that he's already spent, he can take the drug program and get some time off. You can do 85% of your time. So you're looking, you're kind of looking at really, with everything that's taken off with the 85% and all the other stuff, you're looking anywhere between 3.5, 4 years maximum. Because with all the other time he's done, and the fact that the 85% of the time that you can do, plus you take the 6 months away for doing the juror program, which I think Mr. Combs is going to do. That's what his attorney's going to tell him to do. So I'm pretty sure that that's going to happen.
In court, it came out that there was some mental illness and things of that sort happening with him. Can that be used to mitigate or lessen his time?
It could be used, but a lot of people won't get into that, because there's one thing to have some mental issues, but he was very highly functioning. He kind of knew what he was doing. The judge, now the other thing is the judge could make him serve consecutive sentences, which would kind of double what he would do, right? So the judge can consecutively sentence him to 61 months on, 61 months on one, 61 months on the other, but he gets credit for all of the back time on both of them. And so that's, in this worst case scenario, that's what he would be looking at. But most of the time, the judges run the sentences CC. And so in that particular situation, I think that's kind of where he would be looking at. But go ahead and ask your question again, because I didn't want to get off that, but I want to make sure that I get that part right for you.
No, you covered it well. So at the end of the day, the judge said, hey, the defense wants him to serve between 21 to 27 months. But he says, according to what I'm seeing, it might be between 51 and 63. But then yes. I see online some of these shows, these guys, these attorneys, they're shucking and jiving, saying that he may not get any time at all. What do you think?
Well, the judge can go under the range if he wants to. It's discretionary. But I don't think the judge would do that in this situation, because I tell you why, this is one of these cues that we follow, right? Remember how when a judge went and asked, I'm pretty sure Mr. Combs is going to want to come home once the verdicts came back, right? And then he left and went back, and he came back and had a different attitude, and he was a little meaner when he came back.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that people start either, he probably started watching things, he probably started thinking about things, he probably watched some of the reaction of people within itself, he probably went back and looked at a couple of things and probably said, you know what, I better not let him go home right now. I don't want to have the appearance that I don't take domestic violence serious. I don't take this kind of sexual behavior serious. And even though he's convicted of these two things, we do have some concerns about his money and his ability to be able to get things done if he's out of our custody and we can't watch him. And so I'm going to do the smart thing. I'm going to do the safe thing, and I'm going to go ahead and make sure that he remains in custody. And so when you see something like that, if I'm a judge and I'm keeping him in custody, then that's going to tell me, you know what, if the judge is taking this attitude toward me, now it's going to take a lot for me to change that. And so for him to get under where they are in times of the 53 to 61 or 51 to 63 months, that's going to be very difficult for that judge to go under.
So let's say, for instance, when everything is said and done, what does Mr. Combs' life look like? Does he have to go see a parole officer? Does he have to register? Is it really complicated? What happens next?
Let me break something down to you. What they're going to do is they're going to do an interview with a probation officer, right? You do this interview, they look at your background, they look at how far you went to school, how much money you make. Do you have any children? Do you have any mental issues? Do you have any drug problems? What was your upbringing? What's your background? Do you have any other additional issues? They do this whole interview thing, and they provide a full report to the court. Typically, the attorneys are there when they do these interviews. Like I go to my defendant's interview when they do them, and then they come up with a big report telling the judge what your background is, what your issues are. If you have a drug problem, they talk about it. They talk about your work history, your business history, your criminal history. They talk about all of that. And then they look at the point system based off of all of that and determine where you're going to fall. Like I said, most people say 51 to 63 months. And typically that's the range that he's going to be looking at. And with the amount of time he's already spent to this point, almost 11 months. And then the fact that you can take a drug program, which Mr. Combs has some drug issues, you can take 6 months off your sentence. And so when you do that, everything combined, like I said, he's looking to do anywhere between 3 to 4 more years and probably be home. And so that's kind of where he'll probably fall if the judge does not do the sentences consecutively and he does them CC, which is concurrent, which means at the same time.
Okay, so Genesis, I'm going to have you take over the next 3 questions, and then you can kick it back to me. Unmute your mic. Yeah. No, nothing. All right, so I'm going to, okay, maybe. Try. Okay, nothing yet. There you go. Go ahead.
All right, listen, I just want to make a statement. I don't have a question just yet. People in the chat, we're going to drop the link shortly. Okay, so you don't have to spam the chat. We're going to drop the link. Don't spam the chat. If you have a question, everybody's going to get a chance to come up and speak their mind when we drop the link. So please stop spamming the chat and going crazy. All right. So
yeah,
that's all I want to say. You just relax.
And I want to say y'all to everybody watching, we appreciate y'all watching. I mean, you're okay. You're cool to disagree with me. I don't have a problem with that, but it is what it is. I don't change. I don't change what I do based on somebody agreeing with me or disagreeing with me. I just tell you what it is. And I think that when you're a lawyer, I think that it's your job to tell your client, hey, this particular issue you're going to have a problem with. And I think what happens with a lot of lawyers, a lot of people get pulled in because the lawyer told, everything is going to be okay. Well, if everything is going to be okay, I'm definitely going to tell you, I'm going to do everything that I know to do to be able to get you out this trouble. But I think that is disingenuous when your client has, if there are 10 issues and okay, we can deal with them 7, we got those knocked out. But these 3 things are going to cause us a problem. It's my job to tell you those 3 things are going to cause you a problem so that you know that they're going to cause you a problem so that you and I can work together to deal with them, okay? Everybody has a chance and everybody has an opinion about, oh, well, they shouldn't be able to talk about the domestic violence because he got convicted of the sex trafficking, transportation of people for sex trafficking, and it's not right that they use that and fair. I'm just gonna tell you, man, if it was you, you might not agree with it. But if you and your woman has some issues the previous 9 years and they only convicted you of something else done related to the sex trafficking, when it gets to sentencing, everything is fair game. I'm telling you that so that if you get in a situation, and this is where I try to provide this to y'all. When you get in this situation, I want to know what you're looking at. I don't want you to go be in a situation and start arguing with your lawyer about we still don't be able to use that. What the lawyer is going to tell you, no, they can use it. And whether you like it or not, then they go to court, they start using it. The lawyer objects one time, the judge says fair game is fair game. So why argue that it can't be used when let's just deal with it? So I understand everybody wants to have disagreements with me, and that's okay, and that's how you feel. But the law is the law, and that's how it works. So that's just part of what we're talking about. We're gonna bring everybody up, and we're gonna talk about that a little later. But our job is here to provide you the best legally what we can tell you about the case.
Okay, so Genesis, at this time, I only want to bring up my court partner, Sean G., who looked out for me in a big way at the courthouse. So right now I'm going to drop the link. Genesis, you have to give it to me so I can bring him up on my side. Sean G. is the only one that can come up. Please do not come into the room until I open it up for everybody. Sean G., come on up. Genesis, drop that link. But in the interim,
you got to turn me into a mod so I can be able to drop links on your channel.
Okay, that's good. I could try to do that while I'm talking, while Calvin is talking again.
I can ask a question too while you're doing that.
Yeah, but can you put the link in the chat so I can grab it and put it on my side though?
Yeah, I can do it, but I have to be given a mod. So because
you can't drop the link. I'm saying just drop it into your chat. And I think I'll be able to. That's what I did last time. Just drop it.
Oh, okay. Okay, I can do that.
And please, no one else come up but Sean G at this particular time. Calvin, let me just ask you so you could be talking in the interim.
Mm-hmm.
What are your colleagues saying as far as the results? Do you feel like they feel that he shouldn't have got anything at all, or that the jury was spot on?
For the most part, they feel like the jury was spot on because they do realize there was a lot of behavior that was inappropriate. There's some things that if I'm representing Mr. Combs, I'm gonna tell him, man, you might not want to bring people from across state lines to do this. I would not do that. That's not a smart move for you. You bringing the feds in if something happens. So of what he was found guilty of, I'm pretty sure people are pretty unanimous about that. But I even talked to prosecutors here in Dallas, and they were saying, man, that's not a RICO. And then when a prosecutor, I talked to several prosecutors, and they feel like, man, that wasn't a RICO. That ought to tell you something. But Mr. Combs was guilty of transporting people for the purposes of prostitution. And that's true, and that's real. And I think most the overwhelming sentiment is that he got convicted of what he was supposed to get convicted of. Now, a lot of them would say they probably should have charged the assault of Cassie in a way where he can get a conviction for that federally, but it really went across state lines. But a lot of people feel like that should have been something that really, that's what he did more than anything that people are pretty sure about.
Melvin, can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you, but mute your mic temporarily till you.
Well, you got YouTube open. If you got two things open, just only have StreamYard open.
Okay, you're good now. All right, Sean G, go ahead and rock and roll. You have the floor, Sean.
Unmute your mic.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, Calvin, how many federal cases you did?
How many federal cases I've done? I'd say about 20.
Okay. Number one, the judge cannot use anything that Puffy was acquitted of in his determination of his sentence. His base offense level is 14. That's where it comes in for prostitution. Now he could get a 4-point enhancement for coercion or fraud if the judge so decides. But where you're coming on here talking about that the judge can use, he could bring up the kidnapping, the arson, he cannot. He was acquitted of those charges. Nothing that he was acquitted of can be used in factoring his sentence. This is his first offense. If he does get any time at all, the base offense level at 14 is 15 to 21 months, man.
Can I make the?
Hold on a second. Y'all coming on these platforms talking about 51 months and 63 months. That's what Maureen Comey is going to ask for. But there is no basis for her to ask for that other than the fact that she lost. And it's the same way that Mark Agnifilo is going to come in and ask for time served, which is below the guideline range. He's going to ask the judge to do a downward departure. Now, Puffy has zero criminal history. The violent acts, none of that can be factored in to figuring out his sentence. He's got, this is his first conviction. Y'all got to stop with this, man, with this run. They're not going to run the charges consecutive. If they do anything, they're going to run them concurrent. And at this point, Cassie's prostitution charge has already expired the 5-year statute of limitations. So her charge may be out the window.
Can I just break this down to you, my brother? I understand your opinion.
I'm not your brother. Don't patronize me like that.
Hey, listen.
Don't do that.
Listen.
I don't know you.
Hey, listen.
Hey, listen. We're not going to be argumentative on here.
Let's do this. Because I didn't interrupt him, so I don't want him to interrupt me. So let's do that first. I always tell people, you might not like what I say, you might not agree with what I say, but the judge is going to take things into account that he feels that he wants to take into account. He doesn't have to. I've already seen the sentencing guidelines. I've been doing this for about 24 years, going on 25 years. Once again, you may not like what I'm saying, but the judge, we don't know what the judge is going to do. And so this is where we got to be careful, everybody. Like for me, whatever the judge does, he does. But when as an attorney, we're taught to pick up on every little cue. The fact that he did not want to give Mr. Combs bail before sentencing, the fact that he came back almost a little more on the angry side after he was sentenced, kind of gives me a cue of what I think the judge is going to do, number one. Number two, we don't know if the judge is going to run things consecutively or not. Now, I try to tell people, is he going to run things consecutively? Do I think he's going to run things consecutively? No, I do not. It's a possibility. And as attorneys, we try to tell people their worst possibilities. So if I'm Puffy's attorneys, I'm of course going to argue that, hey, he's a first-time offender. He wasn't convicted of any of the additional stuff that they're bringing up. And judge, we really need to stick to the guidelines. And judge, we really need to keep this sentence below where the guidelines are. But most of the judges, 90 to 95% of the time, will follow those particular guidelines. And when it comes to being personal, look, if you don't want me to be your brother, I'm okay with that. I'm fine. I do this for a living. I do it every day. I do it all day. So at the same time, I tell people, as an attorney, I have to prepare my client for the worst. I have to prepare him for listening to, hey, they're going to try to talk about other stuff, but we're going to be able to help you deal with those things.
Let me ask
you. And so at the same thing, don't interrupt me. Do not interrupt me. We're not going to do that. I didn't interrupt you. And so basically what happens is I try to tell people, hey, it's my job to make sure that you're ready for the worst thing that can happen. And then we try to work back from that, because I don't want you going in thinking you're going to get time served. And then next thing you know, you get 61 months. Now, because he's a first-time offender, to me, you should go on the lower end. You should go on the lower end because of that. But with that being said, based on
saying that before.
But no, that's what I did. No, what I'm trying to tell you is I'm making sure that people understand where I'm coming from. Now, I'm saying that now, but what I'm telling you is I'm looking at the pressure that the judge probably has on him. And I'm saying that because of that, and based on the behavior of the judge, initially seeming like he was going to let Mr. Combs come home, and then all of a sudden he goes back and doesn't want to let him come home. And then the judge may be sitting back watching how people are reacting. And when it comes to domestic violence, when it comes to men, especially black men, man, when you're in a courtroom and somebody's accusing you in the past of doing it, if a judge hears that, whether he's taking that into account or not, he's heard about it. And when he hears about it, you may think he ain't gonna take it into account, but let me tell you one thing: he is going to damn sure take it into account. And it's my job to tell you that, not to agree with you and make you feel good. And that's just kind of where I'm at. That's how that works for me. I mean, that's just what it is. Might not like it, but it is what it is.
Listen, how many days were you in court? Did you come down to the court?
I did not come down to the court, but I've been talking
to
Mel every day. And Mel been in court every day. So I get my truth from Mel.
I was in the courtroom every day.
Are you a lawyer, Shanji?
Excuse me?
Are you a lawyer?
Am I a liar?
A lawyer, a lawyer or an attorney.
I was an inside the courtroom observer. Okay.
Are you a paralegal or attorney? Are you in the legal field?
And Melvin can attest to that. Okay. Now,
he's absolutely correct. Yeah.
On the day that Puffy was acquitted by a jury of his peers, Submarinian didn't convict him. Maureen Comey didn't acquit him. Submarinian didn't acquit him. I didn't acquit him. You didn't acquit him. Mark Agnifilo didn't acquit him. New Yorkers, a jury of his peers, acquitted him and told him, gave him his life back. He was facing death, 30 years to life. They set him free. Judge Submarinian was going to let him go home that day. Mark Agnifilo stood up and asked him, let him go home. Let him be with his family. And Judge Submarinian was going to let him go until Maureen Comey stood up and changed his whole thing. They took a break. He went and got somebody got in his ear and changed everything around. So for you to say that you kind of know what this judge is thinking and what he's going to do is disingenuous. And for you, before I came on, you was talking this 51 months to 63 months. That is way out of the question. And the fact that you're an attorney doesn't mean anything as to what you know or what you don't know about what Puffy says.
Can I respond?
I didn't interrupt you. Don't interrupt me.
Can I respond?
This is the sentencing guideline range. Yeah. When I went to federal prison, they sentenced me to this. And every nigga that I was in prison with told me that they got sentenced to this. Now, the judge can do an upward departure and go outside of the guideline range for people that are multiple offenders. The third offense, the fourth offense, category 4, category 5. Then the judge has a propensity to go outside of the guideline range to the upside. Conversely, on the flip side of that coin, the judge can do a downward departure and go below the guideline range for somebody who is a first offender. So you gotta explain it right. They're not gonna run the charges consecutive because both charges were under the same indictment. So all of that coming on here, I'm an attorney, I'm this and that. That means absolutely nothing, man. I know. Absolutely nothing. And you weren't even in court.
Can I respond?
You've never been to the court, not one day.
Let me respond.
Let me respond. You're going on your personal experience.
Let me respond, Mel. Let me respond, Mel.
Okay, go ahead.
Hey, man, and I'm being direct because, we from Texas. We just going to be straight out with you. I'm going to tell you right now, listen, man, when I have guys that have been to the penitentiary, a lot of them think that they're lawyers. A lot of them don't respect the fact that I am a lawyer and I do know what I'm talking about. I always tell people, man, listen, I do this for a living. People pay me. I have people's lives in my hand every single day. And I'm not some lawyer that just has a silver spoon in my mouth. Man, I got partners that I grew up with, did 25, 30, 35 years. So when I do this for real. I've gotten some of those guys home now. So I don't play no games when it comes to representing people. I treat it like I'm going to jail. So when I treat it like I'm going to jail, I went to school for it. I go to school. You don't know me. You don't know me. You don't know me. And
it's totally different from going to prison.
And listen, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Let me break something down. Do not interrupt me. Do not interrupt me. I did not interrupt you. I gave you your floor. I did not interrupt you, I did not interrupt you, Sean. I always tell people now, like, as far as me arguing with you, I'm not going to argue with you. And the reason why I say that is because I get a lot of people that have been to prison. A lot of guys that I talk to been into prison. They go like, well, I know more than a lawyer. I know more than him. I feel like I know more than him. But at the same time, I always tell people, man, if I take on clients that will not listen to me and they will not follow my advice, that will not listen to what I'm telling them to do, I don't take them on. Somebody don't like you, I would not take on because you won't listen. You wouldn't listen to me. You wouldn't listen to anything I told you. And when I deal with people like, you would not. And so I wouldn't take you on. And so that's what I'm just being honest. That's what I'm being honest about. And so the reason why I say, the reason why I say that, no. You're not going to come on here and then tell me what I need to do or what I should do or what I can't do. I'm a lawyer. I do this. I do this every day. I do this for a living. So basically what I have to do is I have to provide, like somebody said, and you have the ethical duty to provide all of the probabilities. That's exactly what I'm doing. So why in a situation like this, you have to make sure. You have to make sure.
Hey, Melvin, I'm out of here, man. I'm holler at you later, man.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I'll see you later. Thank you. But this is the situation. What you have to do is you have to make sure that you tell people what the possibilities are. And that's kind of what we're doing here, Mel. Like, for example, he's saying, well, the judges are not going to run the sentences consecutively. We don't know what the judge is going to do yet. We have no idea what the judge is going to do yet. But I'm telling you right now, if that judge, based on what you told me, Mel, and you were there every day, man, we talk all the time. Okay. If the judge's face changed when we were thinking he was going to go home, and then we come back and all of a sudden the attitudes change, I'm telling you what happened in the background. I pick up little bitty cues that other people don't, other people don't catch on to. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you have to do. You have to pay attention to what's going on in a courtroom. Now, listen, what Puffy has been convicted of, to me, is not that serious to where he should get a bunch of time. But typically, the judges stay within a range. And I'm going to be honest with you. When you look at this and you look at the situation, the judge is not going to want to fall outside the ranges because he's not going to want to catch any flack from the citizens of New York and the people that he has to answer to as well. And so the judges, they talk to each other. And I'm pretty sure somebody said, you know what? We need to be careful about this. And even the judges, and this is what people don't know, the judges have clerks, right? All the judges have clerks. Man, they go talk to their clerks. Hey, in this situation, go research this issue. When you have somebody like this that has these issues, what have other judges done, and what has been the criteria for letting that person come home or not? Go research that for me real quick and come back to me. They probably had their law clerk go research and come back. Well, judge, this is what I found, and this is what they decided that they were going to take into account. And that's what they do. And that's probably what he did.
So let me ask you this, right? Because it really bothered me as an observer that's been in the main courtroom every day. The judge really led Puffy on that he was going home, in my opinion. Mark Agnifilo stood up and said, listen, my client came in here with all these charges. He has much less now. Let him come home. And then you had the prosecutor stand up, 20 years. He's a terrible man. Lock him up. Boom, boom, boom. The judge says, I'm going to make my decision probably by 1:30, I believe, because he says, I'm sure Mr. Combs don't want to go back to the NBC, whatever you call that jail. So in my personal opinion, I was ready to bet somebody he's going home today. He'll be at home with his family for July the 4th. Now, I know people are upset. They don't want to hear that or what have you. But the guy did not get found for those top 3-tier crimes, right?
Yeah.
He came back with a whole different face, whole different attitude. And now he's talking about these different things like domestic violence. In fact, just to be clear, he used the opening statements from Mark Agnifilo saying that Diddy owned domestic violence, and he used that against him. So what are we doing here? It just doesn't seem fair to me.
I'm going to tell you what we're doing. We have optics here. I always tell people, judge did not want to leave the optic. You have a jury, and you had America watch Puffy Combs damn near kick Cassie's head like he was punting the football. Let's be honest. You seen a video where he's literally dragging her down the hall, trying to keep her from getting away from where she doesn't want to be, allegedly. And this is nothing against Puffy. I'm just saying that that's what they have. That's stuck in people's heads. And I think it's disingenuous for me to get up and tell my client, you know what? You only got convicted of these 2 things. He probably going to let you go home. We ain't got nothing to worry about. Now, I'm going to be honest with my client. I'm going to say, man, you did get convicted of the 2 lower things. But, man, I don't think this guy going to let you come home because, number one, you got the situation with Cassie still locking his head. People know you kind of committed some domestic violence because of that. In addition to that, you're a man of means. You're a man of money. and they're going to say that you're a flight risk potentially. Number two, they can bring up the issue of domestic violence, of the issues that you had with Cassie and watching that video, and people can say what they want to say. There was a whole reason, my man, why Puffy paid. The guy asked him $50,000 right for the video. How much Puffy ended up paying? 100. So I want you to think about this. I don't ever go into a store and say, I go into a Benz dealership. How much is that Benz? 100,000. I give you 200,000. I give you 200,000, right? The only reason why I'm giving more money for that particular video because it means something. It means exclusivity, or it's gonna cause me a problem. I will pay money for exclusivity, or I'll pay money not to have problems. So the fact that I paid twice what they asked me for the video tells me that that video is a problem, and it's such a problem. To be honest with you, without the Cassie kicking video, how would we be viewing Puffy right now? If you had never saw the video, I'm going to ask you two guys this. If you had never saw that video, what would you think about Puffy? I would have a more favorable opinion of Puffy than I have now. And it's not that I don't have nothing against Puffy, but when I see a situation where the situation happens with her on the ground and she's getting kicked and dragged or whatever not, that gets stuck in my head. And Puffy knew that too as well. That's why he paid twice the amount of money for the video. I'll be honest with you. If I was potentially being accused of that, I'd have paid twice the money. Matter of fact, I might have gave 200,000.
Before that video came out, I think people were looking at Cassie like a gold digger.
Bingo. And
then when the video came out, people,
oh my God. Listen, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Before the video came out, I gave Puffy the full benefit of the doubt. But man, when I saw that video, I said, oh my God. And so that's why I'm trying to tell people, as a federal judge, if I'm sitting on the bench, am I letting him go home after I see that? No, man, I'm not going to. Because when it comes to bail, and once again, let's separate two things. Let's separate what he got convicted of. Okay? And let's separate what the parameters are for bail. They are not the same. Yeah, I want y'all to understand this. The elements of the crime are A, B, C, D, and E. For bail, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. These things will be taken into account separately. If you are a flight risk, if you are in a situation where you might not come back to court, if you don't have ties to the local community, then it becomes an issue. So what Puffy probably did is made sure I'm going to put myself on house arrest. I'm not a flight risk. I have ties to New York. My family's here. My company's here. Everybody depend on me here. And I'm going to come back to court because it's easy for me to come back to court. And I can assure you that I can come back to court. I'm going to do that. But when it comes to the fact of, are you a danger to yourself, others involved in the case, or the community itself, then the judge used those parameters to hold Puffy. And I want to take y'all back to this. What did he say when he came back and said, by your own attorney's admissions, he's guilty, or he's been doing some domestic violence, right? So he used the domestic violence, even though it really wasn't really a part of his case. He used that to hold him and not give him the bail that he asked for. And so I want y'all to think about that. Even you said that, Mel, because when I talked to you, you told me that when he came back in, he pointed out the beginning, one of the opening statements of the defense attorneys saying that his client had participated in domestic violence. And so he used that to be able to hold him on bail, and legally you can do that. That's just what it is.
It doesn't seem fair, though.
It is not. I look, as a defense attorney, I hate that. I want my guys coming home. I want my guys to come home. I always want my guys to come home. I want my guys to come home, number one, because I've seen a lot of people do a lot of times. I've seen a lot of people hurt by the federal system. I got partners that I'm still friends with to this day. There was a local rap artist here in Dallas. I don't want to say his name. Really was started our wave here. Man, he did fair time. He's still my friend. I grew up with these guys. So for what he did, I think the feds gave him way too much time. So when I see situations like that, I'm very, very careful when people could potentially go to jail on these Fed cases. And they're able to use a lot of information in these cases to be able to give people these Fed cases and be able to kind of hold them accountable when it comes to hold them in custody when it comes to bail, when you have those kind of issues. And then when it comes to sentencing, they're able to use a lot more. And this is what we don't talk about. I may not want the judge to take into account certain things, but I know in the back of my head, I know he's going to take certain things into account. And I need to be ready to deal with them as an attorney. I can't go on a hope. I gotta be ready for anything he gets ready to say. And I know the state's going to use the fact that the situation happened with Cassie. So I'm going to try to deal with that. I got to be proactive as an attorney.
You know, I wanted to let people know that if you want to come up and make a statement or say anything, the link has been dropped in the chat. If there's any main mods, if you could pin it to the top of Mel's chat as well, pin it to the top. So welcome back to the panel. Sean D, did you want to make a statement?
Hey, Calvin, you said that you think Puff gonna get 51 to 63 months. You said before I came on, right?
What I did was what I basically said is that's typically where he would probably fall. There's going to be arguments one way or other. There's certain point that shouldn't be on him. But if he falls between that,
how
he's
much
not
time
going to get that much. I'm going to finish answering my question if you're going to answer it. I'm going to finish answering my question. If with the 10 months, 11 months he's already done, you can take like a drug program, get that 6 months knocked off. You're only doing 85% of your time.
The drug program is 18 months knocked off.
Yeah. So
it's not 6 months, 18 months.
Okay, whatever. That's what you say. That's what it is. So what's probably going to happen in this particular situation, he's going to probably do between 3 and 4 years is what I'm guesstimating. Now, we'll see what happens when it comes back. I'm not going to go back and forth with people about it.
I bet you $1,000. I bet you $1,000. I'll cash out at the mail right now. He don't get 3 years. He don't do 3 years. I'm not betting anybody. I'm gonna cash out him $1,000. I'm not betting anybody anything here. Mel, give me a body. I'll let you later, Mel.
All right, thanks, Calvin. Your camera is off. Also,
okay, let me tell you what I have to do. I have to move the iPad. It's about to die.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. No problem.
That's why I'm trying to make sure.
Okay, so I'll rock out a little bit until you
rock out until I can get it on here. I'm sorry, y'all.
All right, Genesis, if you have any. Okay, no problem. Genesis, if you have any questions for me, go ahead and shoot. I can handle it.
Well,
if anybody wants to come up, I'm sorry. If anybody wants to come up, please come up. Here's the thing, though, guys. This is something I wanted to say to you guys from the bottom of my heart, right? I try to bring you guys consistent, solid information about this case. In this particular case, I had a distinct feeling that something was wrong. And I told you guys all along that whether they could pin down these points about the case, that ultimately it seemed like the guy was being targeted. And that's basically what the defense said at the end of this trial. They said, you can't trust the government because none of these ladies went down to the courthouse and said, Sean Puffy Combs did this to me. They went for a civil suit. Okay, you have to factor that in mind. So for all the people that are just saying, lock the guy up for life, I'm just saying, try to be reasonable because we do have a verdict in the case, and I know you feel strongly about it, and we're not condoning any of the things that could have happened wrong. But I'm just saying, as far as in the audience, we have to respect the law. We have to have some type of meeting ground here, and I think it's wise if we just try to respect where the case is and where it's at, and not bully people because we feel like he's still guilty of all 5. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Oh, look at here. We got Queen in the building.
Hey, Queen.
We got War Child back. All right.
I'm glad everybody's back. Listen, y'all. Listen, I'll tell y'all this now. Listen, people are very passionate about the case.
Right.
And for the most part, I would tell y'all, I am defense oriented for the most part. I hate to see anybody going to jail because I understand kind of what that does to people. You know, for people who don't know me, and like a lot of people don't know me, I come from a community that basically it destroyed an entire generation because the fathers went to jail and they got 20 or 25 years in the crack era, and their kids ended up being home with single mothers and end up committing crimes, and now that generation is lost. And so when I fight a case, I treat it like I'm going to jail. I don't advertise. I've been doing this 24, almost 25 years, and I've never taken out advertising. I don't have to, because all the defendants in the jails here in Dallas, my name rings through the jails in Dallas County. They like, oh, you got Calvin Johnson, and they hire me based on, I get cellmates that hire me because they see what I do for their cellies. And so with that being said, and I'll say this to everybody, as an OG, somebody who's 53 years old, for every black man that's on here, yes, you are my brother. You may not think you're my brother, but I accept you as my brother, because I disagree with you. And I think as black men and black women, we got to be careful. And I was saying this on another show the other day. When we disagree with each other, it doesn't mean that I don't respect you or I hate you. It just means that I disagree with you. And we can disagree with each other and still be cordial, and we can disagree with each other and still be respectful. So I've been trying to work on myself with that, because one of the things that I tell people, and I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna hand this back to you, Mel. We come from a very aggressive upbringing. I'm a hood guy. I just am. And when anybody comes at me, and if I have been unprofessional today, I apologize for it. But there's still about 5 or 10% of me that still is going to go there when you go there with me. And that's just part of a lot of us. And so I'm also working on that 5 or 10%. I don't think it's ever leaving. I don't think they're going to come up with a serum to get it out of me. But I try to watch it to make sure that it stays in the box. I don't want to open the box. I put the bunny back in the box, and I want to leave the bunny in the box. All right.
Yeah, I bet that 1,000. You just gonna have to cover me. I bet the 1,000.
Hey man, listen.
All right.
Calvin might be right. I got. Let's put the wager on it.
So listen. I like DJ Genesis and I like Sean G. So I'll put up 1,000.
Okay.
All right, man. Let's go,
I got a side note.
all right.
DJ. So one of you guys will get the 1,000. DJ, Sean G. Though, put it in the chat. You said 3. What was it? What was it? What did he say? I'm sorry.
He said bet 1,000.
You think he's gonna get anywhere from 3 to 4 months? I think he said
no, he said 3 years. He said 3 years. Okay,
That's what I'm
thinking.
I do agree with Sean G on that. I kind of
saying time served. He think he's gonna get time served.
I think he's gonna get time served for the time he's been in there, and whatever time is left. Now I believe Brother Calvin said it almost could take. While I don't know when sentencing, when it comes to federals, you know what I'm saying? I'm more of a family court person, but it could almost take to a year. Although somebody stated that that the sentencing hearing was supposed to be in October, which is,
it's not going to be that long, man. They do a process where they interview you,
right,
and then they come back up, they interview you, they go through everything, they prepare a couple of recommendations. And so that's kind of what happens. And so they give, what happens is they come back with a number, right? The probation officer is going to come back, and we think it's going to be a level this. The state and the defense get an opportunity to file what we call rebuttals, right? And that's where if the number comes up too high, if the point system comes up too high, the defense will say, no, that's too many points, that's too high. We think it should be lower, and they make arguments about that. And so that's why the sentencing probably will happen in October, but there'll be a couple of things that happen in between now and then.
okay.
In about a month, he'll probably get interviewed by the probation department. And then within 2 to 3 weeks after that, they'll come up with a sentencing recommendation. That'll be kind of a couple of months. And then it'll give the state typically about, a few weeks to respond, and they'll file a recommendation, and the defense will file a recommendation. And that's why the sentencing is going to happen in October, which is about 120 days out.
Right.
And so
I think that they moved it up. Didn't they say they were trying to rush it or move it to be sooner? Or maybe I heard that from the wrong channel.
So they're going to have a conference on Tuesday at 2:00. It's going to be remote, and then they're going to determine the actual sentencing date, because Mark Agnifilo had asked for it to be sooner.
Yeah, you want it to be sooner because you want to have an opportunity to get your guy out. Now the judge can come in and say, hey, I'm not going to give him that much time. I'm going to give him this amount of time. I'm just concerned about that happening with what you shared with me, Mel, and I took my kind of cue off of you when he looked like he was going to let him home. And then he comes back and his attitude has changed. That would concern me about how he's feeling about Mr. Combs. and how he's going to feel about that. And so that's what my concern was, you know. And so when a judge starts acting like that, then I have some concerns. And then when he doesn't let him go home, when Puffy can really basically put his own self on house arrest, he can wear a leg monitor. He can put up a whole bunch of money and property that says he won't run, and it'll give him a reason not to run or do anything wrong, and they still won't let him come home. It tells me a lot.
Here's another question. I think that another thing happened too is that the lawyer for Cassie and the dance and the makeup artist or some other person,
the stylist, Deontay Nash is a stylist. If that's who you're talking about.
Didn't they both wrote like a letter? Like Deontay wrote a long letter, and the lawyer wrote a letter asking he not be released. Do you think the judge took that into any consideration? And why is that even possible for a outside lawyer, to be able to butt into this, and to get involved with the case like this?
And what I'm trying to figure out, y'all, he probably has some connection to some of the victims, if I'm correct, in saying that he would have to kind of have some kind of connection to one of the victims. And remember why I said one of the criteria is that, are you a flight risk?
Right.
Will you come back to court? Or are you a threat or to yourself? Or to others, society, or the community. Right. And so when you're a victim allegedly of some of the behavior that happened of Mr. Combs, and you're saying, I fear for my life, Judge, don't let him out. I think something might happen to me. Then what the judge is going to do, and I'm going to tell you what judges do, because if I was a judge, I would do this too as well. I'm going to be like, well, wait a minute. I can let Mr. Combs come home. I can let him go home. But let's say I let him go home. Something happens to the victim, even though it may not be Puffy, right? Maybe it could be something weird, something different happens. How is everybody going to look at me as a judge?
Right. He has to take it under judicial discretion.
Exactly. They're going to call for my head. Y'all. They're going to call for my head. So in that situation, I'm not going to let him go home, because I'm going to be like, you know what? I'm going to take the precaution of just leaving him in there, and then I'll go from there. You know? Right.
And didn't the judge say that that his attorneys did not provide any evidence that on the contrary, because they were the ones who actually argued that he has substance abuse and domestic violence issues. So that is taken under discretion, because that's evidence provided by his own attorneys, right? So that's substantiated. The judge has to consider that, as well as the probability of what everyone else is saying. And there was no other substantive evidence or merits provided to the contrary by his attorneys.
Let me interject here, okay? So Mark Agnifilo used various cases to show, because he went out and looked, right? There were some cases where traffickers made $1 million for trafficking somebody across the state. But Mark Agnifilo said, in this case, Diddy is basically a customer of the prostitution. And if you go to your local town, right, and you get a guy that's frequenting 2 prostitutes, he's not going to be held in court this way. And so that was his argument. Basically, you're not letting the guy go, and he's been found not guilty on 3 counts. 60% is gone now. So that's the argument that was made. So go ahead, rock out.
And see, that those are the kind of things that we talk about. But remember, the average guy that gets picked up for dating a couple of prostitutes ain't Puffy Combs. Puffy Combs has a lot of money, influence, power, and reach. He can touch you without touching you. And basically, what people don't understand is, even though he didn't get convicted of certain things, the judge goes back in the chambers and he's like, somebody's car got set on fire.
Version within the mind.
Remember how I say you drop nuggets in people's heads, right, that you might not use for the case, but you drop a nugget and you can't undrop the nugget?
As long as you don't spit it out your mouth out loud.
Exactly. And see, what happened is the state put a lot of nuggets out there about Mr. Combs and his behavior. And then the nugget that the defense put out there, and they had to put that nugget out there. I don't think it was a mistake for the defense to say, hey, he has been, he's committed some domestic violence. Because what you want to do is you want to get the fact out of the way that he has done something that he shouldn't have done, so that we don't spend a lot of time talking about that. In addition to that, you put the behavior out there so that you don't have to let them put it out there like you're hiding it from the jury. But when he put it out there, the judge came right back and used it. So I want y'all to think about that, right? The judge used the fact that he had committed potential domestic violence against Cassie to hold him into custody. So you mean to tell me I'm gonna tell my clients, you know what? Don't worry about the Cassie stuff, man. We good. He ain't gonna think about that. We're not gonna, man. You got to be out your goddamn mind.
That would be ineffective assistance of counsel if you did that. That would be ineffective assistance of counsel if you were to do that.
Bingo.
So, and for me, I feel like, hey, everybody in the chat, everybody on the stage, welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey, Calvin. I think, hey, Mel.
Hey,
Mel.
Queen, what's up?
How you doing,
Queen?
Mel?
Hey, Queen.
Queen, I was trying to put my vote in the bucket last night for that show. Ooh.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
Thanks, yes.
Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. Go ahead.
Listen,
we had like a love connection going on.
Listen, please, act like you didn't see that, and let's start over again.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. Anyway, Calvin, back to you. Listen, I'm looking at Calvin's background. I'm looking at the collar on that shirt, and I'm saying, "Yep, Calvin, know what I'm about to say." Hey, Calvin, we still see? They can say what they want to say. They can feel how they want to feel. They can do whatever they want to do. But at the end of the day, Calvin, I'm gonna put my $1,000 with you. They say he gonna walk free. I'm putting my $1,000 with you. I don't give a damn what your mammy name is. Even the people out there on food stamps, y'all better follow.
They don't even make those no more.
I bet y'all the government grilled cheese sandwiches.
The goal will go up now. We put our money right here. I bet we'll bring these back. We'll be able to track cash in. We'll see what our money and then bring back the paper. Listen, I got a bet on you. I just want to know that a little bit.
And listen, y'all, let's be real, y'all. And I'm gonna tell y'all this so that y'all know. Man, I hate to see anybody go to jail. I mean, for me to be able to do what I do, even people that have done wrong, I believe in second chances for everybody.
Right.
I balance out stuff with people. I don't want to see. I hate all of this happen to the victims in this case, and I hate it that Mr. Combs is the one who did it because, man, I look up to Sean. I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of us, man, we grew up to Sean Combs, man. I mean, we got a lot of our swag and a lot of our wanting to be entrepreneurs and wanted to do things on our own. We got a lot of that from Mr. Combs. Let's be real. A lot of us did, right? And so I don't want to see this be his narrative for the rest of his life. I hope that he makes amends with God. I hope he makes amends with the people he's done wrong to. And I hope he uses his resources to do very, very positive things. But when it comes to this case, I'm a smart enough individual to realize what optics are, right? Optics and then real stuff that happens in these cases.
Yep.
The prosecution was smart to drop all of these nuggets about domestic violence, about cars getting set on fire, about people sitting in people's houses. Even though he didn't get convicted of those things, let's be honest, a judge is still going to be in the back of his head thinking about, well, wait a minute. I can't just slap him on the hand. What message am I going to send to the victims of alleged trafficking or domestic violence if I just slap them on the hand or let them go home?
And
I'm just being real.
And also the magnitude of this case to the community. What message is he sending to the community as well? He has to consider that. Yeah, you know, because of the high profile nature of the case.
Yeah, and then can I say one more thing, y'all? And I gotta go here.
Go ahead.
I gotta say this. One of the things that I'm careful about, and this is why I don't like people to get locked up, because a lot of people go through a lot of trauma, right? And when I say you go through a lot of trauma when you get locked up, it changes you. Yeah, I've seen it change men. And when you go to jail and you come out, there's a lot of people that do federal time that come out and think all lawyers are the same. All lawyers are dirty. Everybody's after them. They'll come out thinking they know more than the lawyers because maybe a lawyer screwed them when they went in. And I try to tell people that's one of the reasons why, as a people, we got to be careful to not put ourselves in situations where we get locked up because jail is real. I got a partner in there right now, and then I'll tell you what kind of person because a lot of y'all don't know me. Y'all been knowing me from the podcast. I got a guy from my community right now. He's in there locked up. Man, he got his eye taken out while he was in there.
Oh my goodness.
And so right now I'm in the process of trying to get him home early because he's kind of at a disadvantage. He got one eye in there. And I've known this young man most of my life. He's actually one of the relatives or one of the younger relatives, one of the closer friends of mine, but he's in there right now with one eye trying to defend himself and somebody tried to do something to him. And so I'm doing this just out of the kindness of my heart. I'm not even getting paid for it. But I know the young man, I know his family, so I took it upon myself to work on trying to get him home on some kind of hardship. And so when I tell people, like I come from those communities, 2 of the 3 roughest communities in Dallas is where I grew up at. Crack came into my neighborhood. The first gang set, Crip set, was in my neighborhood in Dallas. Man, before I became 15 years old, I saw 3 people get killed. I saw one guy get stumped out. I saw a guy get shot to death. I saw a man get stomped to death. I saw a man get stomped to death and nobody even told on the person who did the stomping. So I come from a really rough background, and that's why I'm so good at doing what I do. And that's why I fight for people the way I fight for them, because I saw the other side of it. I can only be a defense attorney. I could never be a prosecutor. I just can't do it. And so I'm sharing this with y'all to tell y'all, when you hire Calvin Johnson, I really fight like if I'm going to jail, because if somebody goes to jail, I can't think of nothing else for the whole weekend, because I'm like, man, it's just how I am. I carry it home with me. And if I can't do it that way, I'm gonna stop doing it. That's just how I am. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So I'm letting y'all know who I am, because a lot of us, we just met here. Genesis knows me, and of course, Mel started to get to know me, and everybody else is getting to know me. But man, I do this for real. I don't play no games.
Yeah, okay. I couldn't even really afford him. I really couldn't even afford him, but he still looked out for me and still did my case, even though I didn't even have enough money to pay him on time and everything.
I'm gonna give y'all one last little nugget about that particular issue. One of the people that's kind of responsible for me not getting in the drug game, hustling and all that, was a guy from the community that was really smart. Unfortunately, his family's house burnt down. The Jamaicans came out of the neighborhood and started paying him a lot of money a month to do what he was doing. He saw me walking home and his son, frustrated, no money. He told me to get in the car one day and pull me to the side. He said, I know what you're thinking about. Whatever you do, don't do what I'm doing, because eventually they're going to catch me too. And he set me down and explained to me why I shouldn't be doing or even thinking about doing what he was doing. And the truth of the matter is, later on in life, he was right. They ended up catching him. He went to jail once. He went to jail twice. He went to jail the 3rd time, got out. The last time he got in trouble, you know who represented him? I did. And instead of getting 25 years, he got 9. And he was okay with that.
That's right.
And then when he came up for parole, you know who got him home? I did. So that's my background. So when somebody challenges that, I got a problem with them, because they don't know.
And you know what? Oh.
So let's dispel a rumor or two. Let's say, can the government go after him again for other charges?
They could try to, but what's going to happen is the lawyers are going to try to say double jeopardy. They're going to argue that it's biased. They're going to argue double jeopardy. And in this situation, I don't think that they would do that, because they've already lost once. And I think that it gets to a point where a jury would know that they've lost once. And they're not going to want to go at him again. And so chances of them going at him again are slim to none, because it gets to a point where you're overreaching, you're overstepping. Whatever information you have now, you had then. So you didn't charge him then. Don't try to come back and charge him now.
A lot of people want to know what could be done if they want to support Diddy or someone in this type of circumstance. Do you recommend protesting, rallying, writing letters, or just being quiet?
Well, I'm gonna tell you this, and you got to be careful, because one thing I will tell you, there is some behavior in the Diddy trial that concerns me. The situation with Cassie really concerns me, because as a man, you know, I'm an old school man. I was raised with my grandparents. I raised with my grandfather. Old school man. We don't touch women. We don't beat women. We don't put our hand on women. And so I'm gonna be honest with you right now. Y'all probably need to be quiet, because if you protest, it's gonna look like you're disrespecting our queens, and then people are gonna be like, "Wait a minute." I think what you should try to do is be quiet, and then I think Puffy should strike a tone of reconciliation.
Exactly.
And if I'm Puffy's lawyer, I'm gonna tell him, "Hey man, you get an opportunity to speak. You know, just be honest. Hey, Your Honor, I understand what I've been convicted of. I accept full responsibility of that. I would like to apologize to Cassie and her family, or anybody who's allegedly done anything that they didn't want to do based on my actions or behaviors or suggestions. But that's not the kind of person I am. I lost it on that particular day. But Judge, I going through this whole process, having my kids looking at me and looking at my family, and the fact that I may not be able to provide for them, and the fact that I hurt a lot of people that looked up to me. I want to make amends, and I'm gonna use whatever life I have left in this world to do some things with the money that I've made and the position that I've been put in. That would be my speech for Puffy to tell the judge if they ask me. And that's just keeping it 100. And that's just being honest, y'all. A lot of us don't want to forgive. A lot of us don't want to forgive each other. And when it comes to a lot of black men that do stuff to black women, we don't want to forgive them. We want to just throw them in the trash. But they still in the community, and they still can be used.
Yeah. But if you don't,
go ahead, Queen. I want you to say what you got to say, because that'll be some good. We need a one touch on this one.
Yeah, because I feel like when you do apologize, especially when you done it and it affects so many, and what people not understanding is just that one video alone can actually tarnish a lot within a woman's mind that have been through trauma like that, which we call that abuse. So instead of him just coming to apologize just because he's trying to make amends with me, that's not going to help. But apologize from inside, he started doing things too. So apology is really bad shady.
We can't hear you.
I can't hear you. Your voice is
you have to go out and come back in. I think your internet connection is a little bit down.
Listen a little bit.
Okay,
go back and come back in.
I absolutely agree with what she's saying, because and I also think that it would also be a positive outcome for him to be an example of change, because you know what I'm saying, everybody's had some hard knocks in life and have made some mistakes. So him taking accountability for his actions, him actually going through whatever programs for his substance and and anger management, and then coming back and showing a different side, I think would be a very positive outcome out of all of this situation. I think that he actually owes it to his fans and his community to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Here's a question that I have for you. Since I've been at the trial, I saw attorneys like Tyrone Blackburn. I saw Cassie's attorney come. I saw a lot of attorneys attend the trial that are actually suing Diddy. Some even have multiple clients. So if he comes on record apologizing, doesn't it affect him civilly in a negative way?
Oh, he's going to get civilly charged. Go ahead, Calvin.
Yeah,
sorry.
He's going to get civilly sued anyway. I think that a couple of things you got to take into account. Number one, I think he has to do it, number one, to make sure he gets a lower sentence, because the way I say this is time is the one thing you can't buy back, right? So you can buy, if you got money, you can buy everything in the world, but you can't buy time back. I tell my clients that time is the one thing you can't buy back. As far as the civil lawsuits are concerned, you got to remember, everybody, a lot of these people that are suing him, a lot of them agreed to participate in certain behavior. Let's be honest. And for a lot of them, he took care of them along the long lines while they were doing A, B, and C. And a lot of them, they chose to partake in this behavior. I heard that some exotic dancer is suing Cassie because Cassie gave him some kind of disease or whatnot, and this and that. I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of people in the general public are gonna be looking at these people as money chasers or money grabbers. And Puffy has some of the best attorneys in the world. He's gonna make sure that those lawsuits are defended and that they're fought to the fullest. And as an attorney, when you take one of those lawsuits, you better be ready to spend some money too, because to get Puffy to come off his money, you're gonna spend a lot of money to make sure you get any kind of judgment out Puffy, because Puffy's gonna fight this. He's gonna fight these issues. He's not just gonna take it laying down, and he shouldn't.
I have a question about that guy, about that case, the particular one that's against Cassie with the dancer.
Yeah.
Apparently, he was actually, I guess his name was a part of the trial. I'm not sure if Mel, that's true. That's what he said on Tasha K, that his name is throughout the entire trial. And the information that he came forward with was so damning. I'm like, well, why wouldn't they bring him into the trial? It seemed like there was a few of those escorts that had a really, really elaborate stories that were not brought up in the trial.
And see, the problem with those people are, and I'm gonna tell y'all this, is that they are probably gonna prove Cassie was part of initiating a lot of the sexual encounters, because they can't just come in there and testify to the negative. And they have to provide, the state has to provide Puffy's attorneys with all the text messages. So let's say Shake Something come in there. We're going to give him a name. We're going to say Shake Something. That's what we're going to call him. So I bring Shake Something in there, and Shake Something, he got some bad information on Puffy, but I see a bunch of text messages where
Shake Something,
Cassie is telling Shake Something, hey, I want to see you. Me and Puffy want to see you next week. As a matter of fact, I want to see you on the side, and we ain't gonna even tell Puffy about it. And I'm gonna take care of you. They have to provide all of that kind of stuff. So those potential other witnesses probably had a lot of problems,
right,
in terms of some of the stuff they agreed to and some of the behavior that they participated in.
Right. Can I add on to that? Because
yeah,
a lot of times the prosecutors, if they see that somebody that they're going to bring on may also be contrary to their position, they won't call them, and the state won't, the defense won't call them, because if they call them, then when they go to question them, they have to do a direct examination as opposed to a cross. And in cross examination, you get to ask leading questions. Mm-hmm. And so I saw that recently with one of these trials. It was the Karen Reed trial, where the state did not call the main police officer dude because they knew he would be damaging to their case, and then the defense didn't call him because they couldn't cross. So it's like chess. You know what I'm saying? It was like, you know what? If I can't cross-examine him, then, you know what I'm saying, then the state can just come and ask 5 questions and then say, you know what, we're done, and we'll never get to the information that we want. We'll never be able to open those windows. So you got to be careful with that. Yeah, you got to be careful, man. You can hope you can, right? Right.
Another thing that happened is the jury. So now the jury members are starting to come out and do shows and start to talk about how they really saw this whole thing, right? One thing that the juror member said was that off rip, they were all looking at the case like they were trying to railroad P. Diddy. Then they said that they didn't really believe Don. The
juror says that?
Yeah, on CNN. They said that they off rip, they were already like looking at the case, listening.
It was a brother too. I was upset with him. Like, come on, man, you're supposed to be unbiased. You're gonna look at her and say, "Oh, I know she was," you know what I'm saying, or this one was not guilty. Like,
once again, Mel, what I tell you, we had this conversation, Mel. I remember before they did the verdict and before they did the deliberations, I said, there are some people,
and it was white guys. It was the white guys that I'm
exactly. People are worried of the government. They're like, I don't know about the government. Sometimes they do too much. We have to lean more of that out.
So Calvin,
yeah.
Calvin, in a situation like that, even though that wasn't initially what I was gonna say, I say these people done got long-winded more than me. But listen, yeah, I wanted to say, what would that be called? Because as a juror, if you, in a sense, already got a decision in your head and now you're saying it out loud, that wouldn't lead back to anything?
No, it wouldn't, because his impression of that particular witness is just negative. And see, sometimes it's a body language thing. Sometimes it's the way they say things. And sometimes it's your own personal background in terms of when you deal with people, you may see something in that person that nobody else sees. And you go like, I don't trust them. And so you are allowed to feel a particular way about a person based on what you see in them and how they move, how they talk, and how you look at them. There are some people that will look at you and be like, I'm skeptical of you already because of who you are and what you're being asked. And so I'm just letting you know that's how some people feel.
Right.
Okay, can I I'm sorry, one quick second. Hey guys, can you guys please hit the like button, share, subscribe if you like the material. Also, check out Udo on the Go. Udo's been out there at the courthouse every day, really covering this case. So check him out. Udo, I'll let you chime in whenever you get ready. Go ahead, Queen.
I was gonna say, but DJ, didn't you say that? Who did you say was that the jury was saying trying to railroad him? Huh?
We lost you, DJ.
Lost the vocal.
All right.
Yeah, she's gone.
Udo, hop in if you want to now while she gets together. Okay, he may not be there. So Queen, pop in.
Oh, Uda.
Go ahead, Queen.
Well, you know what I did want to say, though? I wanted to say, Calvin, I definitely understand where you're coming from, because I'm more of a defense type person as well. I mean, working with the state, I try to go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, good. Sorry, go ahead.
I try to go every angle I can, and that's what make you the bad guy. It would make you the bad guy when you can look at a person and you can say, wait a minute, but you do know there's another side to this story, because you just see the story from right here. But when you have to show people that you could defend them, but they're also wrong, that's what people don't understand, that you have to be able to do that. So no matter what anybody say about P. Diddy being guilty, P. Diddy being innocent, at the end of the day, even as an attorney, you already know at some point, given up point is, I promise you, I'm not going to be able to help you right here. And that's when you have to have a connection with your, they have to already know that. You can't prove what's already guilt.
And this is what I'll tell y'all. And the difference between me and a non-attorney, and I tell people this all the time. What I try to tell people is, look, I literally have people's lives in my hands.
Right.
Every day I wake up and every day I go to sleep. It's a heavy burden that comes with that. So this is not a game to me. It's not, I do this for the money. It's not that. Like, my clients, a lot of my clients know me through somebody else.
Yes.
A lot of my clients I grew up with, their fathers, their mothers, their kids. I was able to get one young man who's been in the game for the last 15 years, finally got him a regular job. I was able to convince the state to give him probation again because he got a union job and he's working on a union job, and I helped him get there. So right. I try to tell people, man, doing this, it's one thing. I've been to the pen board, I've been to the feds before. I'm cool with all that kind of talk. Yeah. But man, I do this every day on repeat. And it's not easy. So I try to be as best as I can at doing it. Right. And I have to be real with my clients. I want to tell them the truth.
Correct. And I feel like, I don't know, she made me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm trying to figure out what's going on. There's like a sound going on, like a robot sound that's happening.
It's Queen. Your audio is messed up again. I'm sorry.
It's like a robot. Yeah,
I wanted to say this. Yeah, she's glitching a little bit. Sorry, Queen. I want to say this real quick because I see a couple of people who are in the chat who keep bringing up the fact that he wasn't being charged with domestic violence. However, domestic violence was argued by his own attorney. So that's almost as an admission of the guilt, besides the fact that there was actual video evidence and footage that was considered in his bond hearing as opposed to the sentencing. I don't think they can hold that against him. I don't know. Calvin could probably, give me a little bit further clarity on that. I know that they probably can't hold him for that. But but they can the judge can take it under judicial discretion when it comes to his release. So it's evidence that's been submitted to the court of records.
And what happens to a lot of us, and I will tell y'all this, when you go to a situation where you've been in court before and you get convicted of something, like you get convicted of something federally, I would imagine that even though the other young man that was on the phone with us earlier, there may have been some things in his case that he didn't feel like the state was able to use against him, but they're able to use them. And for a lot of people, they feel like it's not fair. It's like, well, I'm here for A, but why they keep talking about C, D, and E? And as an attorney, I have to tell my clients, hey, even though you're here for A, they're going to use C, D, and E. And it's my job to get you ready for that. So we don't spend a lot of time, because as your attorney, I'm paying attention to what they're doing, and you over here melting down because they use C, D, and E because you didn't think they should be able to use it. But I had already told you that. Let's get past that and let's be ready to deal with that when it happens. Mm-hmm. And so that I try to have my clients ready so we don't waste time sitting there arguing with each other while that's happening. Don't argue with me about it. I told you that they can use it. They're using it. Now let's deal with it. And I have to be very strong, aggressive, and direct with my clients and say, hey, man, let's get past that, doc. Let's deal with it.
Yeah. And you got to be very tedious, too.
Yes.
You got to be tedious. Somebody told me that the other day in my chat, oh, you're just being tedious. I was talking about the Carmelo Anthony, and you're just being very tedious. I said, what you think defense supposed to do? If you wasn't tedious on the case I got, and I'm not a damn attorney, I just got mental thoughts from the rural. I'm a Capricorn. At the end of the day, I think about you. I go around in a circle on your ass, and you better be able to bring it because I'm going to catch you in every hole. You got to be as tedious as you're supposed to be. I'm talking about tedious. Yes. You got to skin them just like that. You got to be. That's when you know you're dealing with a passionate person that got your back, and just give it to them. Just be honest. For me, just be honest. Tell me that you figure it out.
You want the bleeding heart attorney because they care.
Thank you.
You know, you don't want the attorney who's 30, 40 years in and they got relationships with all of the judges and the prosecutors, and your case is just a cupcake on their desk. Okay, you don't want that.
I have a question. Like, if he doesn't get to do bail right now, he doesn't get to do bail right now, will he get to ask for bail like after a month from now, or like later on, or is it just like, no, that's it, you can't get no bail? Can he come back and ask for it? Like,
he can come back and ask for it for a reconsideration, but it's not going to happen. If he don't give it to you the first time, they're not giving it to you again. And it's funny that y'all said something. I gotta go here with y'all. I was in court and one of my clients was getting mistreated out in another county, and they almost held me in contempt because I was going so hard for him. And it's because I'm like, man, it's not fair. It's not right. But I did understand what he did. He put himself in a bad situation. I just didn't think it was a fair situation. And so y'all making me laugh when y'all say, look, you got to have an attorney that goes with his heart, man. I was going with my heart in there that day.
You went Roman J. Israel up in there?
Oh, man, I did. I almost got myself jammed up out there. I almost had to call somebody because I was that upset because my client was in there. And I was like, nah, man, it's not right. I'm not going to let, no, they're not going to do him like that. They're not going to do him this way today out here. And it's in another county that's a little bit more Republican, that's a little farther up. But I was like, nah, y'all not gonna do him today.
That's how I feel. When I get passionate about what I'm talking about, and when I go speaking, I don't know what comes. I'm like, man, y'all better take these looks from in front of y'all because y'all gonna get mad with me in a minute, and then I'll bring back to see once I open you up and let you know who I am. Because listen, I get real. You still can't hear me?
Queen, I'm gonna tell you what you might need to do. They have these signal repeaters that you can get it. I always use them. Like if I keep having an issue like that, I have one of these in my house, these little signal repeaters, and it'll keep the cutouts from happening.
Okay, because we can't hear you.
Yes.
I just want to say briefly, quite a few people in the audience are talking about the floods. So what we're going to do is tonight, and if you want to do it along with me, DJ Genesis, you guys, any of you guys, we're going to deal with the floods. I'm unaware about the floods. Can I get a little bit about it? I'll learn about it. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, a little bit about
tonight at 10 o'clock though. 10 o'clock.
Yeah, tonight at 10 o'clock we're gonna do it. But with some summer campers out here, middle central of Texas, they have these camps every year that these kids go to, and it was a flash flood, which means in a very short period of time, there was a lot of rain. So there's not a lot of time to be able to get people out. When a rain comes in, sometimes in Texas, rain can happen where rain's extremely heavy for an hour or hour and a half straight, real heavy, and you don't have time to get people together and move them. And they were already out at camp. And they're in Texas, there are a lot of rivers, a lot of waters, a lot of wooded areas, a lot of cloggish things that can happen. So that's kind of what happened in Texas. And so a lot of people got hurt because of that. But we'll talk about that later.
And where is that at? Is that near you guys, or where?
No, it's like in Kerrville. It's more central Texas. Central Texas, more, let's say about an hour outside of Austin, outside of the state capital, about 90 minutes away from the state capital, but kind of central Texas. We're North Texas. We're North Texas. We're closer to Oklahoma. We'll say from Dallas to get to Oklahoma, you're about another 2-hour drive. Texas is huge, so y'all got to understand, Texas is big. So you can drive for 12 hours and still be in Texas, depending on where you're going to.
Okay.
But like from where we live at to Oklahoma is about a 2-hour drive, 2.5 hour drive. But where they are, they're central Texas. So they're probably about 3.5, 4 hours away from here. So you go from North Texas to the middle of Texas. So it's gonna be about 4 hours from here is where the flooding has happened.
Okay. Shout out to Eric. Shout out to my homeboy Eric. West Texas. All right. So tonight we'll have a lot of video. Let's do a lot of footage, guys. DJ Genesis, I'll put together video too, 10 o'clock.
Brother Mel, have you covered anything about the Carmelo Anthony situation?
And I got some information about that we got to talk about.
No, at this point, the show, I'm sorry, guys. At this point, the show officially that we started is over. So you guys can have at it, whatever you want to talk about. Let's rock.
I just want to say this, with the Carmelo Anthony thing, right?
Don't do it.
So recently we're watching right now on Court TV. I'm a court watcher all day while I do my little paralegal stuff. 8 o'clock, you know what I'm saying? I'm on Court TV all the way till 7 o'clock while I'm doing my little paralegal work. And there's a trial right now with this teenage it's called the Preppy party murder trial, where this young man stabbed a teenager, one of his peers, at a party, stabbed him in the chest, you know what I'm saying, cut a couple of people with a knife, and he's arguing self-defense. There was previously another trial where this young man was in his own garage, and his neighbors, one of his neighbors was a CO, was a correctional officer. And he was an adult, and the adult came on his property, and basically his sons were there, and they attacked him, and the young man stabbed him, and the correctional officer died. And because there was multiple people surrounding him, even though they didn't have weapons, and he had a knife on his own property, he got off for self-defense. You know what I'm saying?
What story are you talking about? I
gotta find the name.
Yeah, you switched up on us real quick. I'm like,
I'm gonna tell you. No, I think I know what he's doing.
I'm putting together.
What I'm saying is because Carmelo was, from what I've heard, and I'm not substantiating this. You know what I'm saying? I don't know the evidence yet until it's actually on trial. But because he was being threatened by the two young men, you know what I'm saying, the two athletes from college, and they approached him, and he's in Texas, right, which is a stand your ground state. He stabbed one of them. Now, from my position, without all of the evidence, I would say watching some of these other trials, like where young man got a couple of times, caught basically got released off, for defense, right? Yeah. So with this trial, if he was being approached, that I think the most he would probably get, and this is just my presumption, is that he would get self-defense, because he was, even if they didn't have weapons, they approached him and they were being threatening and demonstrative towards him. They made threats and they were bullying him before. The most would be carrying the weapon on school grounds.
Can I give y'all some information?
Yeah, so please give me some knowledge on this.
This is the first thing that I'm going to do. The judge that gave him bail I know that particular judge. She's one of the black female Republican judges we have here in Collin County.
Okay.
The new judge is going to be a judge named John Roach Jr. He is one of my mentors. When I very first started practicing law, I would go out to Collin County and do cases in Dallas County. Because remember, I started just doing cases just off the rip. He actually went to my law. He was a alum of my law school. I worked for him for a week in the summertime. And I go see him once a year just to tell him how I'm doing. See when he showed me the ropes, introduced me to everybody. He's a very no nonsense judge. And when I had mentors, I had several mentors. I had black mentors, white mentors, people that are Democrat, Republicans, whatever they were. I wanted to know as a lawyer how you saw law, how you practice law, what you did and did not do. I didn't care what you were. I wanted to learn, right? So that's what I was able to do. So I know the judge out there very well. He's very no nonsense. Now, I'm going to tell y'all a couple of things. The issue of them bullying him before the incident happened, that has not been proven that they had any contact, any relationship of that happening before the incident happened, which means the video that you can actually go see the video, but you can't make a copy of it. What they're saying the video shows is there's not much of an altercation before the stabbing happens, outside of maybe the person telling him he needs to leave the tent. But my concern for Carmelo is one thing, and I'm gonna tell y'all this, and me being devil advocate, I'm not advocating for the white kid. I'm just being honest with y'all. In high school, I don't know about how y'all do it, but if I don't go sit in the middle of a rival's tent, that ain't gonna happen. Like where I grew up, if I went to Lincoln, I'm not going to sit in Madison's tent.
Right.
If I go sit in Madison's tent, I want smoke. I'm sending smoke signals.
But wait, Calvin, I'm sorry. I got me and you got on the same colors. You got on yellow. I got on pink. We got to do it, but we the same color right here. Listen, I got to go. This one I got to run. Calvin, think about it. How many football games have you been to? How many tents have you been up under? How many stands have you sit on? When it start raining, I don't give a damn how many tents around. What do?
You go to the tent that's free, whatever you do.
That's what he did. He slid up under the tent. The altercation started because of the rain. It started because when he slid up under that tent, it was only because of the rain. It started with the rain. It wasn't in the tent. If it wasn't raining, would he have been under that tent? We got to go to the beginning.
And I hope that's the reason he's gonna say he was there.
Yeah, me too.
But I'm gonna tell you the problem that we have, right? And I'm gonna be real with y'all.
Come on.
His spokesperson.
They need to get me.
He's hurting. He's hurting him.
He is hurting them big time.
Yes.
And can I break something down to y'all? I'm gonna be real with y'all.
Talk to me because I ride with this case.
And I'm telling y'all, I'm from Texas. I want y'all to understand one thing.
I would like to get connected on this case, Calvin.
And I'm being real with you. If you think that they're gonna allow a black kid to go stab a white kid out in that county where he at, oh my God, we got a problem.
But wait a minute, Calvin. Wait a minute, Calvin.
I'm being real.
Wait,
I'm being real.
Wait, if his case, if he got the right defense to pay attention, because I just told you, they say I'm very nitpicky. If he got the right defense, I promise you, he can prove self-defense on this case. If he got a bad spokesperson, they need to fire them. That's why I'm looking at whoever this Michael Howard is.
It's not. Listen. I know. Let me break something down to you. I know Mike Howard personally.
Is he good?
I work cases with him. He's a great attorney. I'm talking about that spokesperson he got. The other guy. I don't want to say his name because I don't want problems in Dallas. I don't deal with him.
Right.
But I'm telling you, it's the other person. That's the problem. Mike Howard knows what he's doing as an attorney. But when your client is not listening to you and you got a non-attorney going out and making moves without talking to the attorney, that's not the attorney's fault. We only control so much.
You know, does Pete Diddy even have a publicist that's out talking about his case to the media?
Nope, not that I know of.
So why? I'm trying to figure out why in a murder case do you need a publicist throwing events and throwing press conferences?
He threw the father of the dead child out of a press conference. If y'all think, I'm letting you know, we from Texas, right? What did I tell y'all about that? Let's have a real family. Let's have a conversation. What did I tell y'all about Texas, right? we had the highest number of people wrongfully convicted that were on death row in the state of Texas, and the county, this county sits next to the county that I'm in, and they're worse than we are when it comes to certain things, right? So my concern is, and I'm just being honest with you, the temperature here in Texas, when you got the wrong spokesperson out there doing the wrong thing for the client, it's not even the attorney's fault because he can only control so much. When you got a group of folks that's not listening to you as an attorney, and you out in that county, and the white kid gets stabbed, and you're black, and the white kid looks like he didn't have a weapon. I'm just saying, I'm not advocating for the kid. I'm just telling you, if it was my son, and I'm in Texas, I'm worried. I'm worried for Carmelo. I'm worried.
I would be worried too, Calvin, but I could tell you this too. I would be as worried as nothing. The reason why I wouldn't be worried, because when I date back to the beginning of this story, we asked what started this story. What started this story was the rain. And we all know that we've ran up under tents. And my question is, when you've ever ran up under the tent, do you think any of them would have addressed you to get from up under that tent as an adult? So why did they do it to him as a kid? What made them want to come and communicate with them? If they had a problem with him up under the tent and he said, touch me. First he said no. Then he said, touch me. Right then and there, they're holding Carmelo Anthony accountable for that. But wait, why don't you hold the deceased, rest in peace, hold him accountable for why didn't he turn around and go tell him the door?
But I'm going to tell you what the problem is. I'm going to tell you what the problem is. If Carmelo would have two-pieced him in the face, if he'd have maybe even stabbed him in the leg or something like that, but a stab to the heart and the kid dies,
one stab.
There's going to be, listen, I'm going to tell you this right now. When in Texas, when you use self-defense, you're supposed to use the level of aggression that's used against you. And what's going to happen is the state is going to argue. When I assert self-defense, I have to prove that the amount of danger I was in led me to take an action that could cause serious bodily injury or death. But the burden shifts to me because I'm asserting self-defense. That's why I'm worried for Carmelo. I'm not disagreeing with you, sis.
No,
but that boy got a problem.
But if there were multiple opponents, it
was his brother.
If there were two opponents against one,
his brother,
you can like I'm a martial arts instructor. When you get into,
I'm gonna tell you the problem, y'all. I'm gonna tell you the problem. You know what the problem is with that one? And this is one of the problems that he's gonna suffer from.
We'll take our chance.
If that's my school, if I'm a witness, I'm not gonna say everybody in there was against him. I'm gonna say nobody else was bothering him. It was just him and Austin. And that's the problem he's gonna run into because you in their tent.
But wait,
that's
Calvin,
the hard problem. I'm being real with you. That's the hard problem he's gonna run into.
No, Calvin, but wait a minute. His mama been talking too much. His daddy been talking too much, and his brother's been talking too much. His brother has admitted. His brother said, Carmelo Anthony said, touch me. He said he wasn't moving, and then he said, touch me. The brother said, my brother put his hands on him. The mother also said in the beginning when it first happened, the mama said he's an arrogant young man. She said he don't back down. She said if he think he's right, he's gonna keep coming at you. He bullied them. They knew karate. They was in the woods shooting hogs and pigs. They already knew they just came from a boxing because they boxed too. And you play football and you run a track. You were not scared of him.
I'm gonna tell y'all something.
Can I just make one quick thing? So DJ, tonight at 10, if you guys want to move it to 9, we can, but let's get some video footage of this case too. Let's go over this case and
please.
All right.
Yeah, I'm trying to jump on now. You know, I'm a little bit because I got court tomorrow. I got to start getting back in my ground. I took off this week.
Uda on the go. Somebody wanted to come up. I'm not sure how to.
Calvin, you got to come back, Calvin.
I'm gonna try to, y'all.
I'll be your legal assistant.
I got to pay my
I'll be your legal assistant on this one.
But I'm being real with y'all. Listen, y'all. Listen. Y'all got to understand. I'm from here.
Me too.
I'm from here. I know how things are out here.
Right.
And I see how Bubba and Billy Ray are currently feeling at this point.
And guess what?
And I see how Bubba and them are feeling.
But Kevin,
and I'm concerned. And the jury pool out there is not going to be us. The jury pool out there is not going to be favorable to us.
Calvin,
And so that's my concern.
We need to start putting our boots on the ground. I just feel like if you really believe in this case, I feel like we could fight this case. Think about this, Calvin. We're going back to Trayvon Martin. Trayvon, the exact identical thing happened. The only difference is the murderer got away with it. He got away with it. Whatever happens, this is not murder. You're going to give me something self-defense. You're going to charge him with a gun. I feel like if we really believe in, if you believe in the case, I feel like we can put our boots on the ground and we can surround that area.
But this is the problem.
We can do it.
That's not going to stop anything.
Right
That's
now.
not going to stop anything.
The problem that's happening right now is this, y'all. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't agree with the spokesman that he has for his case. That spokesman is hurting him big time. And I could not represent him unless that spokesman was removed from the situation. There's no way that I would touch this case at all.
Can I talk?
And I have a question too.
Hold on. Hey, guys, take me off. I have to step away for a minute. DJ, put somebody else in my place. Bring me back up later when you. Yeah,
y'all, I'm going to be honest with you. I got to get on. I'm going to try to come on later on tonight because we need to have a longer conversation about this one. I'm going to try to get on for a little while tonight with y'all. But I'm being real with y'all. Like, we got a problem down here because this thing has not been handled properly.
Calvin, I would like to work with you on this, Calvin. And I'm not, you don't know how, listen, you don't know all my books. You don't know everything that when I tell you I got
the notes. Queen got the notes.
When I say they call me tedious, I'm very tedious.
Queen,
now.
let me break something down to you. Queen, and I'm gonna tell you with the issue that we got, and I'm being real with you. Y'all have to understand where I'm at. And y'all got to understand that I know the people that are involved.
That's
and what I'm going to tell you, he has the wrong spokesman for it. That person is not going to listen to us. He going to do whatever he want to do. Because of that, he's going to have a problem.
Guide me in it, Calvin.
I'm telling you,
honey, it's just a
website.
I
wish I could guide you in it, Queen, but I'm going to be real with you. He has their ear.
Right.
That person is not going to listen to anybody else. And he is hurting that young man's case as far as I'm concerned. So I want with that person, I'm not touching it. I wouldn't dare touch it.
He has a website. I can help you get the website, Queen. You can reach out and good luck.
And listen,
that guy is very arrogant.
Tonight, but I'm gonna break it down to you. The person he has as a spokesman is not gonna. He's gonna feel how he feels. He's gonna listen. And I'm not down in that person. He's gonna do what he want to do. But I could not work with them. I would never work with them. I can't. I won't because they won't listen to. They won't listen to my advice, and I'm telling you right now, that person is not going to listen to anybody. He's going to do what he's going to do, and that case is getting messed up because of that. That's just how I feel.
I have a question. Hold on, I have a question. Do you think that was a huge mistake for him not to allow the father? Because the father was really siding with the family at some point.
Let me break something down to y'all. Can I break something down to y'all?
Trying to work. Go ahead.
Can I say something to y'all?
Yeah.
I would have never had that press conference to begin with.
Never.
But it all, listen to me. It all goes back to the spokesperson doing something that I wouldn't have done. And I'm going to tell y'all, Queen, as strongly as you feel that you can help this young man, is as strongly how that person going to feel about not letting you help him. So I'm letting you know that that's kind of where those folks are. And I feel bad because I think the young man is going to suffer because of it.
He is. That's why we can help him. Can we talk about this? Let's see.
We can talk about it, but as long as his spokesman does listen.
If I come in that area, Calvin, I feel like we can make a change over there. If I come in the area, I feel
let me break something down to you. As long as that spokesman is doing what he's doing, we're in trouble. We're just in trouble, Queen. I'm being real with you. Yeah. Believe me, I have belief. Listen, I believe I can do great things, many things, but when you got somebody that refuses to listen,
working against you,
exactly. It's not gonna work.
When we come in a boatload, though, that's what we always throw out the window.
You can boatload it all you want, but if you got somebody out front not listening, if you got the person who got the wheel to the boat, and we all on the boat, we all gonna sink.
Stop the boat.
Because he got the door locked. He got the damn thing on the damn steering wheel. He ain't listening. We telling him it's a hole. He like, nah, we can make it. Nah, we better hit shore over here. And you're like, nah, man, we got about 10 minutes. All the water's gonna be in there. Nah, man, we got 30 minutes. He got the door closed. He don't want to listen. Bingo. I'm being honest with y'all. I'm being honest. Look at me.
With an oncoming
Have y'all ever saw me look like this? You see my eyes? That's crazy eye, right? I got crazy eye right now. Back in the day when if I met a woman and she had crazy eye, I wouldn't talk to her. Right now, I'm that woman with crazy eye.
Yep, psychosis eye.
Right, exactly. I'm being real with you. No.
Oh,
but listen, y'all, we had a great time today. I'm gonna try to get back with y'all tonight. Let me get myself going because I can meet some other obligations and try to be able to get on later on tonight. But listen, I enjoyed this, y'all. And the other thing is, the brother, if you're still listening, if I got into an argument with you, hey, I'm gonna tell you this. Peace, my brother. I'm past all of being into an argument with anybody. I'm a king. You are a king. You're my brother, whether you think you are or not. I'm only responsible for how I treat you. I'm not responsible for how you're going to treat me. My brother, with the one we got into an argument with, I only wish you the best. I wish you success in your life, sir. Me being real. Let's being honest. That's who I am.
Yeah, I think it was Sean G. It wasn't
Sean G. Just, hey, man, I wish you the best, Sean. I'll have no problem with you. My deal is in life. I'm at a point I'm 53. I just turned 53 last Saturday. I'm enjoying this life. I do this for a living. I wish the best for you in your life and whatever you choose to do with it. That's just who I am. I don't have to win an argument.
It came up for a moment, Calvin.
Exactly. And I know that.
But you're nothing but respectful. You're a
Exactly.
respectful guy, and you're a defense attorney. And he was up there acting like he's on Diddy's side, or Diddy gonna be free. So what would his argument be with you when you're a defense attorney?
And that's the whole thing. He wasn't even on the jury. He was sitting in the bench watching like
he questioning his status as a lawyer. You're a lawyer. You're more of a professional than us. That's why you're here. Hopefully, you could break down some little things to us so we could get us all savvy on the law. Right. We're not going to try to bad mind you and strong up on you.
Yeah, man. And but you know what?
You, brother.
And you know what? I appreciate y'all doing that, man, because you know I was kind of losing I was losing contact with the world for a minute because
I was right here to back you up. I said, no, let me keep talking.
I'm like that because y'all can tell, like, hey, I ain't,
I was about to blast him too.
Yeah, crazy eye. You're getting the crazy eye, Calvin. The crazy eye.
I'm not silver spoon.
But you contain yourself.
I'm not green, I'm brown.
But you contain yourself. That speaks volumes for how you carry yourself because you contained yourself. So that speaks volumes. Yeah. And it's not about those things. Because if you really want to have a conversation, y'all could have spoke. You could have did a back and forth. Y'all could have spoke. And then he abruptly just left. So obviously you just came for a moment. You're not really coming for a conversation. And that's not what we want to show the younger people as well. We want to show them that we can communicate. We can have a difference of opinions, still do it conducive. Everything will be cool and smooth. We don't have to fight about our opinions. Like even on my channel, some people say Diddy guilty, Diddy free, whatever you feel. Everybody's going to feel what they want to feel. And we ain't got to be strong on each other about that.
And you know what you just said, man, listen, let me tell you where, and me keeping 100, I tell people, you know, I had to understand certain things about myself. In the past, I like to get back at people. I've been going to therapy. They've been helping me out with that. Therapy. So, no, listen.
Everybody should get it.
They've been helping me out with that.
Therapy is good.
Because it makes me a better person. And I'm trying to be a better person, and that's what we should want to be. If you realize you got certain issues, which I do, I want to make sure that I get those issues addressed. That's what grown men do.
That's right.
I'm a grown man, so I know I got the issue, so I had it addressed. Listen, back in the day, I like to get back at people, but I'm not like that no more.
It doesn't matter as long as you stand in your truth.
He fell out. I think it's
it doesn't matter. And some people do stuff like that. They come on just to sabotage a good point.
Ma, let me tell you something. You know, black folk who are trying to do something better in their lives, you get so much heat from your own people. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a father's rights advocate. I've helped many. I've won 13 legal actions going back and forth since 2017. And while I'm not an attorney, I know how to give legal advice. I know how to search up information. Yes. You know what I'm saying? I have a plethora of own personal knowledge. I have my own little organization, a fraternity of fathers legal rights, where, you know, it doesn't even matter what race somebody is. If people are fighting for their kids, they fighting for their kids or whatever, I'm there. And I don't, I'm not charging nothing because I'm not an attorney. But at the end of the day, I still give freely. And if people hit me up personally, I go and do my research about their state and about their laws and about this, that, and the other. I give them the precedent. I give them, statutory, information. And then brothers will turn around and be like, "Oh, you ain't nobody, bro. You still paying child support. My baby mama owe me." Listen, and I ain't fighting that fight.
Hey, let me say something real quick. I want to also make a statement that I get it that people have been in the courtroom and stuff like that. Well, I've been there and I'm watching. Okay, well, Mel's been there too, but you don't see Mel arguing with a Calvin because he's been there.
He wasn't even there every day. I was there every day. He left, came back when Cassie came. So stop. I was there every day. So that's a fable that he said right there. Because I was there every day from jury selection. He came the first day. He left. He wasn't there. Then he came back another day. Cool. So it's not about who was there every day. Here. He's a lawyer. He understands the case. He see it in front of his face. He's been studying law for how long? It's not. If we could do it right now, what's the difference? Why can't he see it and look at something? We all have an opinion.
And he was just dealing with a judge that and how they do their schedules of the whatever schedule of the blah blah blah.
I've been a legal assistant. Yeah, I've been a legal assistant.
He knows exactly how this works because he's been in the courtroom and how those numbers add up and how they how judges normally do the stuff.
Absolutely.
And I'm had to do if you was a lawyer or not. You could have been studying it, didn't even make it to the whole thing. I'm gonna listen to you because you know something that you know.
Right. But y'all know what I'm gonna tell y'all.
Because they ain't make it. No, you know what you know.
You know what I'm gonna tell y'all, but what happens, and I'll say this, and there's nothing against Sean G. Man, once you go do some time, and let's say you get into the system and you don't have an attorney who has your best interest at
right, you're gonna be distrustful.
You're gonna be distrustful, and if your first interest into the system, you didn't end up with somebody you trusted, then it could really affect you. And I think it probably affected Sean G.
Yeah,
he might not have felt like whatever he went through that they probably treated him fairly, and what happens is
that's not even that, man, because he was there for some other stuff. I got friends of people that's there for real type stuff. He was there for some little evasion business or whatever had happened. I get it, but we're not gonna do that. Stop.
Yeah, we're not.
It's about respecting each other.
Yeah,
that's the first thing we're pushing forward. We're raising young black men as well as fathers.
Yes, sir.
What are we pushing out here? This is what is first thing first.
Legal literacy. Legal literacy.
And this is how people like y'all on the panel is how we're going to get the legal literacy by learning a little 1-2 thing with people like y'all on the panel is what I'm saying.
My audience is 79% male. So that's why I was always feeling like it's important to have a role model like Mel, a role model like Calvin. Now all of you guys are here because I think that not enough energy and time is being given to the male audience and what they are suffering and what they're going through, legal issues, things like that. So this panel that I'm doing is really in support of the male audience and also, of course, the female, but mainly the men knowing how to help themselves in legal situations, seeing how they can get out, understanding the law so that they don't get caught up. We've done how many shows together, Calvin? Going over. Please go back and watch those shows. We talk about when you get pulled over, what to do, what not to do, how to conduct yourself in a traffic stop. So this is not the first time that just with Diddy is that Calvin and I have really brought information to this audience to try to help them to make sure that they stay above the law.
Yeah. And you know what I'll tell y'all at the end of the day, and this is what I try to tell people. I go off people's energy. And when somebody say they're not my brother, and this is my first time talking to them, I'm always aware that I got to be careful with folks because we're at different places in our lives right now. And when I say we're at different places with our lives, especially as black men, we don't deal with each other enough to where we can disagree and can still continue to have relationships. And we got to stop doing that to each other.
Right. We go Klingon. We go all the way Klingon.
Yeah. Man, we go all, and I had to realize that I used to do that. I have a disagreement with somebody, man. I would go all the way to the hilt on them, and I'll say, Calvin, you can't do that. Yeah. You got to be smart enough to maintain that relationship because we may be able to help each other later. We may be able to come on one accord later. And so I'm in a place in my life where I don't know how much time I got left here. One of my lawyer friends at the courthouse, she had cancer. She just passed away yesterday. And one of my law school friends, her husband got killed at a shooting at the mall by his ex-wife last week. And so life is short. So, man, I'm not going to spend my time arguing with people or making new enemies. I'm at a point where I want to see our brothers and sisters come together, try to learn from each other and support each other. Listen, y'all, I got to walk out of here, but I can stay on the stream, but y'all going to see me walking. And I don't know how.
Right. Hey, listen, we got another show that coming on later on tonight. We're going to give everybody a break to get some water and get. Listen, the free Diddy t-shirts, are they still going to put those out, or those Diddy, that whole situation with the Diddy t-shirts? Mel, are you aware of that?
Charlucci got the shirts actually, so he had them going on for free. We gave out some the other day, but he's gonna have them, I think, on his website. I think you go to his Instagram, which is Lucci Brand NYC. I think it's .com as well. Lucci Brand NYC. LUCCI.
Could you put it in the chat, and we could at least support that's his best friend, correct?
Yeah.
So we'll go ahead and show some support on it.
So guys, are we gonna go at 9 or 10 o'clock tonight?
Probably 9, because I know that Calvin gotta go and go to work the next.
All right.
Yeah, let's do 10 o'clock because I need a little bit of break, and so I got to run some things. Yeah, and be 9 o'clock y'all time, I guess.
It'd be 10 our time, 9 your time.
No, we're an hour ahead, right? So it would be 10 our time and 9 your time.
Okay.
Yeah.
10 our time.
Because it was 3. It's 3 here, and you guys are starting at 2, so you're an hour behind me. So yeah, we got to factor that in. So
yeah, so
really
9, 10.
Yeah. So how about that would put us at 11. That would be way too late. So I guess we do 10 Eastern Standard Time.
Okay.
That's I think
he's in the elevator right now, but I'll let him know.
If you could text him that, let him know.
Okay, man. Thank you guys. This has been a really great show. I appreciate it. Oh, you know what? Someone did give a super chat earlier in the thing. I didn't get to celebrate him, so before we go, we're gonna celebrate the super chat that was given by from the podcast with Soul. I want to thank everybody for
That's Sean G. Just so you know.
Oh, okay. Oh, that he was raising hell in the chat room. Jesus.
It's all right. He's passionate. He's a solid brother. He's just passionate. It's all right.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
I thought something was wrong with it. I want to know, Zion. Can I have your information? Zion.
Yes.
Okay. Can I have your information?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fraternity of Fathers Legal Rights.
Put it in the
back chat.
You guys just go in the back chat, and then after the show ends, if you guys want to exchange information with each other, you could just stay and communicate and talk. But I want to celebrate Sean G, even though he was argumentative, whatever. So, but we're gonna give.
I am blessed to make money, making money, making money, making money, making money, manifest, making money, making money, making money, making money. I ain't stressed, making money, making money, making money, making money. Gratitude is my attitude. I'm making money moves. Jewelry in the safe, piggy bank on full. And I'm living life abundant. I'm making money fast. I'm a money making magnet, making cold hard cash. I'm making money. Oh, I am blessed.
All right, we always give a shout out to our super chat with our money making song. That's a mantra, and I've heard that people have listened to that and got some money. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to save it and listen to it over and over, there you go.
Yeah, it was a long one too.
Huh?
I said, yeah, it was a long one. I said, ooh, that puts you in the days for that money.
Yeah, make you want to make some money. You know what I'm saying? But thank you guys, everybody. I appreciate it. This has been a great show. Is there any last words anybody wants to say before we roll out?
Salute to everybody. Peace and blessings to all of y'all. Always a great conversation. Salute to all of y'all. I'll be back. Salute to the chat. Uda. On go.
All right, guys. Eastern Standard Time tonight at 9 o'clock. We're going to go through Carmelo Anthony and the Floods. DJ Genesis, could you please link up with me after this? We'll go through some video footage. I'll try to find what I can. YouTube, perhaps. All right.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
All right. It's going to be a great production. We're working on better quality shows. So tune back in at 9 o'clock Eastern. Well, wait a minute. That's going to put yours at 10 o'clock. I'm sorry, guys. 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 9 o'clock Texas. Yep. Okay. Cool.
All right. Peace.
All right. So 10 p.m. Thanks.
Welcome me back.